1 week ago at Daytona, success for some, disappointment for others. Today it is the second stop on the road to the Winston Cup, the Goodwrench 400 from Rockingham. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. Bathed in sunshine, temperature 73 degrees. Some major stories unfolding here this weekend. Terry Labonte is on the bush pole. He is quick, and in the garage area, they say, far and away, he is the man to beat. We'll update you on many stories, including the Pontiacs. They have a brand new race car. The Grand Prix totally redesigned, and 4 Pontiacs have qualified in the top 11 for today's 400. Pontiac didn't fare well at Daytona, but here at the Rock, it could be a different story. Ward Burton showed promise at the beach until he touched the wall. Here last fall, he earned his breakthrough win. Can he lead Pontiac to victory again? Here's Glenn Jarrett.
We're standing by with Ward Burton. He's with his family, his daughter Sarah and wife Tabitha, waiting for driver introduction. Ward, you got your first win here last fall, but you're back with an entirely different car. A few changes. Is this one as good as the old one?
I can't really tell, Glenn. You know, Goodyear's brought a different tire here. The track is a little bit different. Of course, we got different bodies. We got a few variables that's quite a bit different when we were here last time. So the car doesn't feel anything like it did when we won the race. But at the same time, it's hard to judge how much you're off or how good you are, because when you're out there practicing, this track's eating the tires up. You don't know what tires the competitors have got on. So I think the first 30, 40 laps, we'll all see what we got.
Well, I think a lot of people are in the very same boat that Ward is in. We had a chance to take a look at this new Pontiac Grand Prix with Bobby Hamilton's crew chief, Robbie Loomis. He's going to show us from front to rear just exactly what this Pontiac's all about.
It all starts up front here. This new nose has got a new contour shape, which is a little bit rounder than last year's car. You can see the fenders and all. It tucks the air tighter, keeping the air on the front end. That was one of our big problems last year, was front downforce. Then we get back here to the roof and the top of the car. It's all a little bit smaller, but it's got the round shape to it too. And it gets back here to the back, and that's where this spoiler really comes into play, helpfully to get the STP Pontiac team back up front in 96.
I want to change. I want something new. You know, we've run that other Pontiac, and it was a good competitive car in the late 80s, early 90s. But with the Monte Carlo, when they came back out with the Monte Carlo, it made everything else obsolete. You got to start all over. You know, the Ford guys went back and they regrouped. Pontiac went back, got a brand new car. So I think it forced everybody to another level. So we've got to compete at this level now.
The car is really going to be good. We've got more work to do on it, but the new Pontiac looks really, really good so far. You know, we didn't qualify well at Daytona, but we raced real well. So that was encouraging. And I think it's going to be, at these tracks and at the short tracks, it's going to be a great car.
I've never had a car to drive that good at Daytona. So that was the indication that we're going to be good at the other restricted plate tracks. You know, it was sort of a test session for us. But these race tracks like Rockingham and Richmond and Charlotte, we ought to be really good.
So those are the thoughts of the Pontiac contingent. For those of you who like the statistics, well, let's take a look at some of the numbers and see how Pontiac has done here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway dating back to 1988. Obviously, the dominant race car due in large part to Kyle Petty's runs. Now, as far as overall performance on 1-mile racetracks, there you see the tracks in question. And again, the numbers for Pontiac, a rather impressive group. We'll see exactly how they all do here this afternoon. As part of our pre-race coverage here today, we're going to let you learn a little bit more about our whole announce team. You know, we do have real jobs away from the racetrack. In my case, it's spending time behind the radio microphone for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series and for Alabama Crimson Tide football and basketball. Let's take a look. With 28 seconds to go in this third quarter, Bama kicks it away. Howard springs it out left side, inside 25, and he stumbles out of bounds to the 15-yard line. Lassick trying to turn the corner, couldn't quite do it and lost his footing, and he comes up limping. If you're just joining us, You're tuned to live coverage on MRN Radio of the EC Delco 500. We are live at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham, 14th and 15th spot. Sterling moments ago tried to make an inside pass on Brett Bodine, wasn't able to pull it off and had to back off because Sterling nearly took both he and Brett out of the race. Some of the accomplishments for the gentle giant from Charlotte, North Carolina, who takes all of that experience and puts it to work here and at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where he works at the Buck Baker Driving School, teaching folks who want to go fast exactly how to do it. Dale Earnhardt, he loves to go fast. He, of course, was in search of his first Daytona 500 win a weekend ago. It didn't come, but he's not worried about it now. He's looking at the full picture, the chase for the championship, and that's why he's approaching this weekend the way he is. Daytona is a distant memory for Dale Earnhardt. He may not have had enough car to beat the other Dale, but he'll surely have enough car to focus on his record-breaking 8th championship as he looks to take the point lead.
We're standing by with Dale Earnhardt, and although he didn't win the battle last week, he made a major step toward winning the war. The 8th championship, man, you're in great position. You ran good last week. You got a strong car today.
Well, we got a good race car for today. We're glad the Daytona 500's over with and we get on into Rockingham and go racing. So it's going to be a good day for us. We've got a lot of great race fans here today. It's a beautiful day. Our car's running great, so we'll see what happens.
Well, you told me a lot of guys have been complaining about a little bit of a push coming off the corners, but not with Dale Earnhardt's car.
Well, it can get a little chevy if you force the car. It's one of these racetracks. You got to drive the race car, you know, the whole race and let it come to you, so to speak. So we're just going to try to be patient at first and go for it.
Well, wish you the best of luck. He's got a new fan down here. Martina McBride stopped by to say hello to Dale. And Eli, as always, Dale Earnhardt will be up front at the Rock before the day is over.
Definitely so, and Martina is going to be singing the national anthem here today. Dale Earnhardt is a one-car man. He is the only driver fielding a machine out of Richard Childress Racing here this weekend. But the super teams are becoming more and more a thing of the future. And who better to talk about NASCAR's super teams than a man who's involved in one of them, Larry McReynolds.
Over the past few seasons, we've seen many Winston Cup car owners add a second, and in some cases, even a third team. Now, adding that second team is not an easy task. Believe me, we're trying it this year at Robert Yates Racing. There are many reasons why adding a second team can work to a team's advantage.
The thing I saw with running Mark and Ted's Valvoline and Family Channel programs together was that by doing two exactly the same, we'd have economies of scale. We'd be able to have the drivers help one another specifically, you know, with exactly the same car. And thought that we could use our testing to our best advantage and, of course, tie our engine program together and build twice as many engines for the same amount of development work we were doing.
Doing a second car really adds to the budget to do the things that you need to do to get faster. So, you know, I guess Rick Hendrick really, maybe he was a visionary 10 years ago, and I know he took a lot of criticism for it, but right now I think he's smiling a little bit.
You got more guys thinking about the same thing. Everybody's worried about winning races. They worry about qualifying on qualifying day and things like fuel mileage on race day and what kind of sticker tires or scuff tires, whatever. You got three really good heads in the three crew chiefs and three really good heads in the three race car drivers, and all the guys working together thinking about the same thing, aiming at the same problem. You got to solve it quicker than the other guy.
One aspect of the multi-team deal that may seem difficult is getting the teams to share information, but that's not the case. Sometimes that's the easy part.
Ted and Mark really work good together. They even have the ability to talk to each other on the radio, like on cautions, for instance. And so there's a tremendous advantage there. They can map a little strategy. They can maybe help each other. For sure, it helps the two efforts to have two guys that like to work together.
We sit down after each practice session, and, you know, Todd will come in, and Larry, him, and those two will meet together and try to figure out what they found. every car wants something different. So it doesn't mean that if you find this on one car, on the 28 car, that it's going to make the 88 car faster.
I would much rather us learn something and have to give it to two other guys and to get what they learn than have to try to figure out what everybody in there's got. You know, it's kind of like 3 against 1, or three against 1 that way, and it works real good. Now, what's real nice is how many teams in there do you think would like to be able to go on Monday morning and take the winning car apart? You know, we can do that. So it's not frustrating, it's rather comforting. Now, this season is definitely going to be a learning experience for me. What I'm trying to do is find the balance between 2 different drivers and 2 different teams. Well, I guess we'll just have to see how it all turns out next November.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to bet against Robert Yates Racing, not the way the season has begun. Let's take a look at exactly how the multi-car teams did at Daytona in the 500 last weekend. There you see the finishing numbers for Rick Hendrick Motorsports, and of course, 2 of those men, Labonte and Gordon, share the front row here today. Another of the multi-car teams is Jack Roush's operation. He added Jeff Burton, the man in the middle, to complement Mark Martin and Ted Musgrave, and obviously they had a fine week down at the beach. And the other multi-car team we've talked about, the 2-man operation, Dale Jarrett, the winner of the Daytona 500, and Ernie Irvin. He, of course, a man who hasn't qualified particularly well here this weekend, but is certainly looking forward to dropping the green flag. And that's one thing about running here at Rockingham. Even though we have lost 100 miles off the old advertised distance of 500, this is still a race that's going to be a lengthy one to run. 3.5 hours. So just because you start mid-pack, and in the case of many, pit on the back straightaway, which to some degree is a bit of a penalty box situation, there's no reason to write anybody off as we get set to begin today's coverage of the Goodwrench 400. As we continue our look at the broadcast crew here on TNN, we all have businesses, but when Glenn Jarrett is not taking care of it, he's at the number 1 tee.
Yeah, it had a lot of hang time, didn't it? It was actually a high dive. Golf is my life. I do TV just so that I can afford to go play golf somewhere. See the number, baby. How about getting down? Ooh. Can't believe that. I hit it on the green. Turn, baby, yes!
are some changes. Colors, crew chiefs, drivers, car makes. How do you like to have the souvenir concession here to sell programs to everybody? Because everyone's scarfing up the information to try and keep track of exactly who is who. One of the biggest changes, though, is for driver Johnny Benson. Stepping up to NASCAR Winston Cup from Busch Series competition. Going to some racetracks he's never even seen before. He and I talked about just that.
Are you ready for this? I told you it was coming. JB. And he's ready to suck it to you one time.
Pennzoil Pontiac, Bahari Racing, long way from Berlin Raceway in Grand Rapids, Michigan, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. You know, when I first started my racing career on the dirt and then moved to Grand Rapids at Berlin Raceway, what a big difference, man. It's unbelievable.
Strange thing is, here's another championship you're not going to be able to defend. You've never defended a championship, have you?
No, I haven't. It's kind of unique, I guess, or not unique. It's difficult sometimes, I think, to defend a championship, but sometimes I think it's difficult not to defend it. And so I've been having a little, you know, feeling both ways. You know, should I defend one or shouldn't I? But I've, you know, got it figured out now that if we win another championship, I'd be more than glad to defend it, because hopefully it'll be here in Winston Cup.
Obviously, we're still early in this season, but the step up from Busch Series racing to Winston Cup, has it been more than you expected? Not even the competition, just the attention, the media, all else that goes on surrounding this division of racing?
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's very overwhelming, the differences between the Busch Grand National and Winston Cup, but it's great. You know, I mean, I definitely enjoy it. I enjoy the guys here at this team, Bahari Racing, and they've been making me feel real comfortable. And I think that's is going to be a key for myself, is these guys are 100% supportive, and I think that's going to make the biggest difference of being, I think, on this side as opposed to the other side. And not that I wasn't comfortable over there, and them guys really treated me good too, but I think it's that extra step that the team's taken to make sure I'm comfortable, and, you know, so we can do good as a team.
You realize that there are people who are saying right now that you and Jeff Gordon will be the two men to lead this sport into the next century. You're on the cutting edge of the new breed of racer. Do you feel that? Do you feel any responsibility?
No, I don't feel that at all, because I don't know where that comes from, you know, because I don't feel myself any different than any of the other race car drivers around. I mean, it's great to have that, I guess, tagged on you, but in the same token, I don't feel I'm no different than any of the drivers who have brought the sport to where it's at today. The sport's here because of all these other drivers, and I think that it'll continue on to grow and to be just as good as it is today, if not better, not just because of myself or Jeff, but as because of the whole group together.
Aside from the obvious answer of, I want to win the Rookie of the Year award, what would make 1996 a good season when you guys sit down at the end of the year and look in the mirror?
I think as long as we don't struggle too bad. I mean, we know we're going to struggle a little bit here at the beginning of the year. I think if we can start the year off good, be consistent, have some good runs, but as long as we progress and continue on learning from the first race to that last race, I think that's important. And if we can learn off everything that we learned, like, say, the first half of the season, and really make it promising for the second half of the season, I think that would be, you know, something that would be proud of.
Another Monday morning at Sunbelt Video. This is where we produce Inside NASCAR right here. We used to play basketball, a little bit of golf, but not anymore. This is pretty much it. Come on inside.
Never start a day without a cup of coffee. 1 cup left. No decaf. We need the leaded stuff. New cars.
Hey!
Yes.
We got a call on 137.
Telephone. Okay.
Racing magazine. I guess most people would probably have a lobby full of file cabinets and fancy plants. We've got a drive shaft, wheels, and an A-frame. I also get to do a lot of the studio photography around here, work with the beautiful models. Would you turn your head to the left? To the left. Maybe that one.
Isn't that a great dog? And the dog's pet human isn't that bad either. Dick Bergman, editor of Stock Car Racing magazine. John Andretti could well have had a car to beat at Daytona last week. Didn't end up that way, but he's not letting it bother him. He's qualified in the top 10 for today's Goodwrench 400. John Andretti broke through at Daytona. He led and might well have had the car to beat. But then disaster on pit road. It put him to the rear of the field and cost him a chance at victory number 1. John Andretti starts 7th today.
Well, John, a little bit of problem last week, and what about today? The car looked strong in practice, but a lot of guys having some handling problems.
Well, I hope so, because we're just a little bit off, and you know, but we were, you know, I have a good crew chief in Tim Brewer and a great team when it came our Little Caesars team, and you know, so I'm looking forward to good things. But before I get off here, I do want to remember to do one thing. My parents' birthdays are coming up, and I'm not going to get the chance to see them, but I wanted to wish my mom and my dad a happy birthday this week coming.
Well, best of luck to John today, and the very same wishes from us here at TNN. One of the guys that we were really glad to see come back strong last week, one of the Hendrick cars, Ken Schrader. Great run last week. He's going to be tough today.
Ray Evernham's impact has already been felt as Ken Schrader led the Hendrick stable, running up front at Daytona. Here in Rockingham, though, he'll start 20th. But it is a leaner, more focused Schrader who's ready for battle.
Well, Ken Schrader, as Eli said, will start 20th. He's getting prepped. They're doing final cleaning of the windshield on the car. Kenny Schrader, last week you're a contender, but Daytona's Daytona. This is the Rock. Can you be there today at the end?
Most definitely we can. This car's been real good all week, and I've been looking more forward to this thing, Daytona. We come out of Daytona good, so we're going to be good today.
Good luck, Kenny Schrader. Eli Gold.
Hi, Randy. Last night in Houston, Texas, it was Martina McBride thrilling the country music crowd with a concert, and the RCA recording stars made the overnight trip to join us here at Rockingham. She has our national anthem.
McBride.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
What a voice, what a personality. The 72nd member to be inducted into the Grand Ole Opry, Martina McBride, and she'll be joining us here on the telecast a bit later on. So basically, you've got all the storylines. Now it's a matter of putting the talk aside and firing up the racing engines for 393 laps, 400 miles here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Will the ones who did well at Daytona do well again today, or will it be a rebirth for some who found themselves in the garage area early just one Sunday ago? Stay tuned. We'll find out together. It is the second stop on the road to the Winston Cup, the Goodwrench Service 400. Welcome, everybody, to the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. TNN Motorsports with live coverage of the GM Service 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup teams. I'm Eli Gold. Glad you're able to be part of our coverage here from the Rock today. 393 laps, 400 miles. We'll be making up the total distance. Again, everybody says they'll be chasing Terry Labonte, not just because he's on the Busch pole, but because he has been the man quick all week long, even the practice runs. Of course, joining us on the telecast, Dick Berggren, Buddy Baker, and Terry's going to be tough.
Yeah, he sure is, but this is going to be a very competitive race. They have been coming to Rockingham now for 31 years, every spring, and this is shaping up as the best of the bunch. As far as automotive parity is concerned, of the 4 top runners, we've got 2 Chevrolets, a Ford and a Pontiac. As for equity and driver ability, only 0.6 of a second separates the man on the pole from the guy at the very back of the pack. But Buddy Baker, this morning when they brought out all the equipment onto pit road, they were bringing out an awful lot of spare noses.
Well, I hope they don't need the noses today. But this racetrack has a way of getting you where you're very comfortable, and all of a sudden you relax for a second, into the wall you go. Turn 2 has collected a lot of good race cars in the past. Today they're asking a lot of the chassis. Look for tire wear to be one of the factors, and also how much time you lose on the racetrack when you start scrubbing those tires.
And everybody is also thinking about the fact that this is going to be a little bit of a shorter race. Eli Gold.
All right, Dick Berggren, thank you. Now for the Sears Die Hard starting grid, brought to you by the Die Hard battery. Now with more power when you need it. And there is the all Hendrick Motorsports front row. Terry Labonte and Jeff Gordon. They are quick, have been all weekend long. Johnny Benson, the Busch Series champ, stepping up. Hut Strickland won the Busch pole here last fall. Good runs for Bobby Labonte. And Steve Grissom, he's excited about his chances today as you take a look at the others who have qualified well. John Andretti and Kenny Wallace. Boy, has he been sky high here this weekend. A couple of Pontiacs, and notice the paint job on Bobby Hamilton's, a throwback to the old STP Dodge of years ago. Ward Burton, the winner here in the fall. Jeremy Mayfield, another young man for Cale Yarborough, who's doing well. And there you see the rest of the starters. Dale Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, hoping for well. Bill Elliott says he can surprise, but I'm not quite sure if the car is quite where they all want it here this week. Brett Bodine, Dale Earnhardt in the middle of the field. Kenny Schrader made it in on the first day of qualifying. He'll be starting in the 20th position. Others, Rusty Wallace, he's always strong here at the Rock. And of course, Mark Martin, who won here yesterday. There you see Jeff Burton with the Roush team. Rick Mast, Racer Rick, now with that Hooters Pontiac. Ricky Rudd, we heard from Michael Waltrip, who joined us on the Race Day show earlier today. He's excited being with the Wood brothers. Ted Musgrave, Jimmy Spencer, they're pretty good qualifiers. There you see Derek Hope, Ricky Craven in row number 15. Further back here in the field, you've got Sterling Marlin, Mike Wallace, who says the car can go here today. We'll have to wait and see exactly what the pace will be like. Todd Bodine for his brother Jeff Bodine. We'll talk about that. And Ernie Irvin, he starts and has to pit from the back pit area. Mike Skinner, the series truck champion, or the Craftsman Truck Series champion. Wally Dallenbach Jr., late speed, there in row number 19. The 20th starting row, Bobby Hillen and veteran Dave Marcus from Wausau, Wisconsin. And Loy Allen all the way at the back of the field from Raleigh, North Carolina. He'll be going shotgun here this afternoon. So we're set to go racing from the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. It is live on TNN, where you see more NASCAR racing than on any other network. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 motor oil, controls volatility and fights vaporization. By the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Miller Genuine Draft, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. And by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR. Genuine Chevrolet. Welcome back, everyone, to the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham, the first of 3 pace laps of the field as we get set to go green in today's running of the Goodwrench 400. Now let's take a look at the Texaco Haviland Motor Oil update. They control volatility and fight vaporization, and they bring you the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings after 1 race at Daytona.
And it's just exactly the way they finished the Daytona 500 with Dale Jarrett on top with 180 points. Earnhardt is second. Schrader, good run at Daytona in 3rd spot.
As far as this Rockingham race is concerned, let's give you some of the important numbers. Don't want to overdose on the numbers, but there is the AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. There you see the 393 laps at going to 400 miles here today with a 62nd Winston Cup Series race here at Rockingham. Let's get a last-minute update from down on pit road. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Eli, in an informal poll I took this morning, Terry Labonte is the odds-on favorite. Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, told me they were a little bit pushy loose, weren't real happy with the car. Bobby Hamilton seems to be the strongest Pontiac. He's real good. Ward Burton had some problems early this morning with the transmission. They had to change it. Didn't know what the problems were. Ken Schrader changed an engine, broke a fuel pump. Rusty Wallace says he's awfully good. That's all I got. Let's go to Randy.
Well, guys, as they get ready to go green here shortly, I would like to tell you that Dale Jarrett, after winning at Daytona 1 week ago, really needs to get it done here today if he wants to challenge for the Winston Cup Championship. His record at the Rock has not been all that great since he went full-time on this schedule back in 1989. They've got a new combination of crew members working at the Robert Yates Racing Team. If they're going to get it done, they need to be tough in the next 7 races before they get back to the plate races at Talladega. So Todd Parrott and them are going to do everything they can to get Dale Jarrett up front here today. Eli?
And we will, of course, be riding along with a number of different drivers today. Mark Martin has a camera that'll pivot all the way 360 degrees. There's a look from his roof camera. We'll also be bringing you other pictures throughout the course of the afternoon. Steve Grissom carrying a car or a camera in his Yabba Dabba Doo car. And he said to me, he said, I hope it ain't Yabba Dabba Doo Doo before the day is over. And I said, well put, young man. And there you see other views. We've got Dave Marcus, who's also carrying an in-car camera for us here today in his Prodigy Chevrolet, starting in 40th position. Elmo Langley has taken the pace car off the racetrack, and we are about set to go. There you see the lookout from behind Dave Marcus's machine as the front row now approaches the start-finish line, and we are set to go in the second race of the 1996 NASCAR Winston Cup Series, all the way to the start-finish line. The green is in the air, and Terry Labonte, the push pole winner, quickly through the gearbox. He's got Jeff Gordon, though, going to the high side, taking advantage of the banking if he can get the quick jump on the start.
There was no plan among the Hendrick drivers as to what to do when they got to that first corner. In fact, they hadn't even talked it over. They both decided that just let the race take it to them and go however the cars wanted to go, and Labonte is strong right off the top.
Everybody sorts themselves out. Buddy Baker, you mentioned your dad has the driving school here, the Buck Baker driving school. Everybody cleanly on the restart. How tough is this track to get a good handle on for a driver?
Well, what I've noticed this week is that they're able to run 2x2 in the corners, sometimes 3 wide. So the groove is not right on the bottom like it has been in the past in a few races. So you can race side by side, and I look for a lot of good racing all day long.
Terry Labonte showing the way in the early going. That is not unusual here. Terry has 5 times led a race here for more than 100 laps. So this is his 35th career start here, and he's used to running near the front, and already the front 2 starting to pull away. It'll be just about 3/4 of a second from those front 2 back to the 3rd place running Bobby Labonte.
Well, Eli, you see Terry Labonte there in the 5 car. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon. They were very smart at the first part of this race. They got single file. They did not run side by side, and they built a little bit of lead up over 3rd place.
There's the 94, Bill Elliott. The 87 is Joe Nemechek. They're working back in the middle of the field, 16th, 17th position. Quite candidly, this morning, Mike Beam, the crew chief for Bill Elliott, was kind of concerned as to exactly whether this car is going to be dialed in for the 400 here today.
Well, he had a very different strategy for setting the car up, Eli. And Usually it's Mike Beam and Bill Elliott that talk this thing over, but they came up with something a little bit different, and I asked Beam, I said, where'd it come from? And he said, Dick, I just had a vision. And that's where it is,
Lord.
a vision.
You still have a nose, buddy? Or is the doctor taking care of those visions?
I have a vision. If they keep running side by side like that, Jeremy Mayfield was real lucky there. He almost got collected going in the corner. You have to be very careful. That's a very light spot for the car going in the corner. If you have any contact whatsoever, the car turns right around on the outside.
You see the 87, that's Joe Nemechek just ahead of Mark Martin. Kenny Schrader there in the Bud car, number 25. All the while now, the leaders have worked themselves free by just about a full second on Bobby Labonte. You see others, Dale Earnhardt in car number 3. He's part of that pack. Being posted in 20th spot as there's trouble on the back straightaway. Everybody scrambles after contact with the wall, but everybody manages to remain in the right direction. But problems here. Looked as though Rusty Wallace was the man who made the impact with the wall, though as he comes by us, the car looks fairly clean, but we'll see if we can get a closer look. It was a big scramble of cars down the back straightaway, and we'll find out exactly who it was that made contact with the wall. And oh, there goes a piece of sheet metal off Rusty Wallace's car. It went flying up ahead. You might have seen it just take off, and caution is on the speedway. Looked as though the rear bumper might have come loose. Tough to tell. Well, he certainly impacted the wall. Oh, and there it was. It's the Burton car alongside of him who lost the sheet metal.
Eli, that's that second turn I was telling you about. You can just get a little bit high there. There's a crown right in the middle part of the racetrack there. When you go across there too close to the wall, it's like a vacuum. It pulls you right into the wall.
So caution for the first time here. Lap number 9 here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Buddy, let's see if we can get a good look at what happened here.
Okay, they're coming off the corner there. You see, Rusty just got.
Rusty did get in the wall first,
there, just a little bit.
It looked as though Michael Waltrip was shoved by possibly Ricky Craven behind him. Let's see now. We'll have to wait and get a good look. Brett Bodine is there in the 11.
Okay, Brett come up just a little bit. Rusty had nowhere to go. It pushed him right over into the wall.
Randy Pemberton is down in the Rusty Wallace pit area.
Well, we're waiting for Rusty to hit pit road. Basically, what they're looking to do for Rusty when they get him here, obviously they're going to check the toe on the front tires. They're going to see if they're askew or not. Apparently, Rusty feels they are. They're going to string the wheels. Possible left front flat as well for Rusty Wallace. I know there's a driver change going on for Jeff Bodine in the backstretch. 2 broken ribs. Jeff is going to get out. And Todd Bodine, his younger brother, is going to go in as Rusty Wallace now comes down pit road in the Miller Ford.
He is on the pit lane.
And the crew go to work. Plenty of damage on the left front of the car as well. Right side also, so a little bit of damage. They're going to work on some air ducts as well. They're going to make a couple of pit stops if they can get this car in 2 or 3 times under this caution. He has some aerodynamic disadvantage now. It looks to me like they can pound it out, at least from my vantage point, on the left-hand side. Right side tires are changed for Rusty. They're going to come back in after they get the tires put on this car, and then they're going to try and straighten the wheel out for him.
Well, you see Rusty's car's been up, so is Brett Bodine's car. He's got some damage to the right rear of his car.
Rusty Wallace, the leading active driver as far as wins here at the Rock. He's got 5 of them. He's going to have to work hard here this afternoon to get back to victory lane. We're coming right back to Rockingham early in the 400. Back under green here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. No change in the running order at the front. Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte is next in line. Then you've got the rest of the pack. Hut Strickland, and a good run for John Andretti. He's in 5th. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett. He's got an update from the Brett Bodine pit area.
Well, Eli, it looked like, as you said, Brett was involved in that incident with Rusty Wallace. He's got some right side damage. They came in, made a major chassis adjustment on the car. Also checked the wheels on it. He seemed to be okay. I watched him on the racetrack, though. The car is not performing the way he wants it to, but he's going to have to tough it out. That team's off to a rough start. Robert Presley also made a quick stop. Looked like they may have changed the tire, may have had a tire going down. So those were the only 3 cars that pitted.
Buddy Baker, we're always getting new fans in this sport, and as we watch the leaders work here in single file formation, everybody understands aerodynamics at Daytona and Talladega. What does aerodynamics mean here at Rockingham?
Well, aerodynamics really does not play a major role here. The one thing you don't want to do, though, is mess up the front end. As far as the toe end and camber, you need to keep the car really getting through the corners well here, because you ask a lot of a race car when the corners are this tight.
That's 18th place you're looking at now. Mayfield gets moved aside. You've got Jimmy Spencer grabbing the 18th spot. We're looking from Mark Martin's machine. He's running in 23rd now. The Kodiak car, 41, is Ricky Craven right ahead of him as they work the corners.
That's awfully tight for a Sunday drive. Those cars have been running real close together for several laps now. Just starting to sort it out.
These guys are feeling pretty racy, though, after getting the season going last weekend at Daytona.
You see Mark Martin there in the 6th car just going by the flag stand, and Sterling Marlin on the outside. They've been side by side for the last 2 or 3 laps there. They're not really running very easy this early in the race. They're really going at it.
That is the battle between Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin now for 23rd position. Michael Waltrip, the Citgo machine. He'll move in right between those two. Glenn's got an update on Mark Martin's car.
Well, Eli, it's a little unusual to see him running this far back in the pack. He's usually one of the top cars here at Rockingham, but this morning in the garage area, Mark told me he just wasn't happy with the car. With the new tire they've got, it compresses more, the sidewall flexes more. It really messed up the settings they had on the car. Everybody having problems down in 3 and 4 with the cars bottoming out, and Mark said he just hadn't got it dialed in the way he wants it yet. You can bet they'll work on it during the race.
Of course, we're still early here, as Glenn points out. Plenty of time to work on things here at the Rock this afternoon. Just tuning in, we are 20 laps complete. No one yet has challenged Terry Labonte. And I wonder how many times we'll be saying that sentence this afternoon.
You can see Rick Mast there getting very sideways up out of turn 2 there. I think he has a loose problem. He normally runs very well here. As a matter of fact, he could have won the race last year and had a problem with a tire that wasn't tightened up just right. But he's usually a factor, but he's fighting a loose condition right at the moment.
That's 22nd spot where Rick Mast is running on the racetrack. Mark, as you see, carrying our in-car cameras here this afternoon. 22 laps complete.
It's such a surprise to see him running that far back, Eli, because he's got virtually the same setup in that car today that he used yesterday, and he completely dominated the Busch Grand National race yesterday. Led 154 laps of the thing on the way to victory lane.
And where's Dale Earnhardt? There he is, being bypassed by Jimmy Spencer. That's back at 18th spot now, as Spencer takes over the 17th position here and moves to the outside of the 87 of Joe Nemechek. I guess after a while, even though the inside is the short way around, I guess, buddy, if your car wants to go, you got to give it its reins and let it go.
When you see a car start going in the corner very low like that, going all the way up to the high side of the racetrack, the center part of the corner, he's got a handling problem. He's having to chase that car up the hill. I'm sure he'd like to see a caution where he can work on that car a little bit.
We talked about Mark Martin, too, as you see the battle going on there in the mid-pack. Mark Martin, although he's done well in Busch racing, hasn't won here in a Winston Cup car since 1989. So that is something to just keep in the back of the mind as we update you with the complete look at the field running order right now. The field standings brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Car number 25, Kenny Schrader. He started in 20th spot. He's up to 15th. There you see Earnhardt in the 3. Bill Elliott with the golden arches proudly emblazoned upon his hood. Car number 94.
Now, people have been talking about Schrader having a little bit of help from Ray Evernham, but realize that there is a whole new team there. They let just about everybody go who had been with Schrader before, and it's new guys over the wall, new guys at the shop, new engine program. They are at square one and really getting the job done this year.
There's the STP Pontiac looking like the old Dodge Charger from 1972. That's what they're doing this year for Richard Petty's 25th year with STP. They're having a number of different paint schemes, and there is the cars battling. You saw a quick look at John Andretti in the 37 car. Dale Earnhardt, get a little look inside of Jimmy Spencer. That's back at 13th position. If you're curious about the lead, it is still stabilized for Terry Labonte. He's got about 9 car lengths on Jeff Gordon running right behind him. We'll keep a close look at that. They have now pulled just about 2/3 of a straightaway away from Bobby Labonte. He's 3rd, and Hut Strickland still running in 4th. There goes Jimmy Spencer now with a bit on John Andretti. Spencer holding down the 12th spot, wants 11th place now as they work the corner. And there you see the lead as Jeff Gordon, for the moment, is very much in the tire tracks of his Hendrick Motorsport teammate Terry Labonte. Live at Rockingham on TNN, 28 laps complete. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by GMAC Smart Lease. Want low monthly payments on a new GM vehicle? Call 1-800-32-SMART. Welcome back to Rockingham with Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, and Randy Pemberton. I'm Eli Gold. Want to send us a question? Have a thought you'd like to express? We've got a fax machine sitting right alongside Big Buddy's right elbow, and that's the number you can call if you want to fax us a question or a comment. 1-800-451-7331. We'd love to hear from you right here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Terry Labonte continues as the race leader. There's Kenny Schrader in the 25 inside of Bobby Hamilton. They're battling for the 10th spot on the racetrack. Steve Grissom right behind them in car number 29. Where's John Andretti, though? He is backslid all the way to 21st position. Glenn Jarrett's been checking on that story with Tim Brewer and the boys.
Well, Eli, Tim Brewer summed it up very quickly, very succinctly in one word: loose. He's very loose. He just can't drive the car through the corners. Not happy with it at all. They've got to make an adjustment. The guy that I'm impressed with is Jimmy Spencer. He's moving up into the top 10, putting pressure on Dale Jarrett right now. And if Dale, you can hear me, let him go, man. He's fast.
That's the thought of Glenn Jarrett down on the pit lane. It is 3.8 seconds right now from the leader, Terry Labonte, back to third place, Bobby Labonte. As you see, the Cartoon Network machine, the Hanna-Barbera sponsored entry for Steve Grissom, looking inside, outside, all around the Bill Elliott McDonald's car. That's 14th and 15th. Elliott's in 14th, and Grissom, as you see, in 15th. Dale Earnhardt, he's in 8th spot if you're following his fortunes here this afternoon. You know, you talked about the new look for Schrader's team. Brand new crew chief, Phil Hammer. You've got, heck, all across the Hendrick Motorsports picture. You've got now Chief Mechanic Ed Guzzo with Jeff Gordon's bunch, working with Ray Evernham. A number of changes. And Ken Howes, he's working in research and development now in the chassis room for that same team. There you see the 37 of John Andretti. We talked about him moments ago with Mark Martin pacing him to the outside. Jeff Burton is the 99, the other car in your picture.
I keep seeing puffs off the right side of that number 37, and I wonder if it's tire smoke. If he is that loose. Oh,
Jeff
boy,
Burton
here we
gets
go.
up off the low side of the racetrack, and Andretti does a great job saving his race car. You saw the Exide machine just move up the banking, and John Andretti reels that baby back in a hurry.
As Harry Hyde would tell me, that was loose now. Up till then, it wasn't that bad.
And that was definitely tire smoke.
Yeah, boy. Back in line, just ahead of Robert Presley. That's back at 29th now. Let's take a look and see exactly how that all unfolded.
Well, you can see Robert Presley down on the bottom side there. They make contact just about right there.
Yeah,
you can see Robert's car kind of slide up into him.
Actually, that's Jeff Burton who made the contact there.
That was a great catch, though. I guarantee you Ernie Irvin was sitting there in 28 just behind there going, oh, boy, don't do that.
And there's old Russell William Wallace. He has joined the picture now. Rusty is resurfaced in 29th. Randy, how significant are the problems on Rusty's car after the pit stop?
Well, the guy that is on our camera down here, Tom Hoke, he's the shock guru. The significant damage is Rusty believes he broke a right front shock. You remember 1 year ago at Richmond, he dominated the race, broke a shock, ended up finishing, I think, third. So they broke a shock absorber. They believe, they think it's a right front. They have made the necessary arrangements back here in the pits to replace that shock if and when they get a caution. Hopefully they can do it without losing a lap. It is a possibility. So Rusty is going to come down the first opportunity they get under caution to see if he can change his shock.
Well, that's the update from the pit lane as we work now at lap number 41 of 393, still in the early stages of the Goodwrench 400. We are live on TNN. Glad you're able to join us. Rusty's getting a pretty good bite off the low side of the racetrack there, and a pretty good pack of cars behind him. You've got Bobby Hillen leading things there. Mike Wallace right behind. That's 33rd, 34th, 35th, and further back. For the record, there's Derek Cope, the man I spent $10 to draw in the pool today. I apparently made a contribution early, but you never know with that car. Jimmy Fennig and the boys are really good at chasing a race car, and that's one advantage of a 3.5-hour race. What's going on at 1 o'clock Eastern time doesn't necessarily equate to what goes on at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Brett Bodine is coming down the pit lane for an unscheduled stop.
You see the 31 car there, that's Mike Skinner. He is doing research and development for Earnhardt in the race here on springs and shocks.
He's also auditioning for a job as a Winston Cup driver.
And a man would be hard-pressed not to hire a Mike Skinner. Very, very talented young man. There you see Johnny Benson in the 30. Quick look at him. Stepping up to NASCAR Winston Cup Series coverage here in 1996. You'll be talking about him all season long. The square D colors, that was Kenny Wallace just going by the screen. There he is. Boy, has he had a good week. Kenny qualifying at the front of the field, and he's been hanging right in there. He's being shown in the 10th position right now. Here now comes John Andretti down the pit lane. We've talked about some problems with the car. Glenn Jarrett, they finally had to bring him on in here at lap 45.
Yeah, Eli, when he got tangled up with Jeff Burton out there and nearly lost the car, they started ready to bring him in now. Wiggins get a good shot now. There's a tremendous amount of damage to the left front of the car behind the left front tire. Fortunately, it's not on the tire, but actually knocked the fender away from it. So he's okay in that respect, but they're making a major weight change in the car. They're really jacking on the jack screws right now. Obviously a 4-tire change at this point. This is a lot earlier than they wanted to pit, but this will give them a chance to see what kind of tire wear they're getting. Obviously not too good as loose as that race car is. He's down and away.
So John Andretti will drop himself off the lead lap, and look where Mr. Earnhardt is. He is up to 5th. And his buddy Jimmy Spencer has now made his way up to 6th. But all the while, it is still Terry Labonte who is showing the way here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Live on TNN, the Goodwrench 400, 47 laps complete. Welcome back, everyone, to the North Carolina Motor Speedway. That's the 7th and 8th place battle on the racetrack now. Johnny Benson just ahead of Dale Jarrett. You see who's running where. How well is Terry Labonte running? He's put Mike Wallace a lap down while you were away. Ted Musgrave has gone a lap down. Mike Skinner has gone a lap down. That's the pace already here. 54 laps into the Goodwrench 400. I'm Eli Gold, Dick Berggren, Buddy Baker, Martina McBride. Great to have you in the booth with us today.
Good to be here.
Great to see. How was the trip in from Houston? We told the folks earlier you were there last night. When did you make it to the Rock?
We got in, we flew back to Nashville last night and got in today just right about an hour before the race started.
Well, it's great to have you here. And Martina, for those of you who might have been tuning in a bit late, she sang the national anthem here this afternoon. As you see Bobby Hillin, Todd Bodine in the 7, subbing for his brother Jeff, who's got a couple of cracked ribs. Jeremy Mayfield in the 98. I was watching along with much of the rest of America while you, Martina, were inducted in the Grand Ole Opry, the 72nd member of that venerable club, if you will, and congratulations. And you were genuinely moved. I mean, that was real emotion.
I was very moved. It's, you know, the Opry is something that I've always looked up to and respected. It's all about the tradition of country music and our heritage, and to be included into that family is just a real honor for me.
Martina McBride with us, the proud native of Sharon, Kansas. And I hope everybody is tuned in here. Have you followed racing much? Do you have a favorite driver?
You know what? I'm just now getting into racing. This is only my 2nd race, so I'm kind of learning as I go. Yeah.
Shame on you.
I know.
Of course, her label RCA is an associate sponsor on John Andretti's car here this weekend as Jeremy Mayfield makes an unscheduled pit stop here. Or is it unscheduled? Maybe just a tad on the early side, but we're closing in, I guess, on the first pit stop. A lot of fellows come in a bit earlier than normal.
Eli, the race cars are beginning to use all the racetrack right now. I think we're having a lot of give up on the cars. Earnhardt is the first guy to really go high on the racetrack. Down in turn 3 and 4, you see him using all the racetrack. Look how high the line is for the number 3 car as you see him going through the corner. And he run Terry Labonte down. He was almost a half a lap back. He's pulled it down to he's in the same corner with him now.
Exactly. You see Jeff Gordon running in 2nd spot as Earnhardt tries to get around to the inside of Mike Skinner and does bypass him. And old Jimmy Spencer hanging right there as well. Martina McBride watching from the booth. And I'll tell you, that number 1 single is just doing a super job. Wild Angels is rocketing to the top of the charts. I know you're awfully proud.
It's very exciting, yeah. It's good. Exciting time for us all the way around.
Personally, I like that one, but Independence Day is going to be hard to beat. And of course, the CMA folks agreed when they gave you the CMA award, but you've had a wonderful run of hits.
Yeah, well, thanks. We've been real lucky, and a lot of people have worked really hard to make it happen, so it's going good.
There's the battle for second spot now. Dale Earnhardt goes to the high side of Jeff Gordon and now finds himself just 1 3/10 seconds behind the race leader, Terry Labonte.
Once Earnhardt got Gordon, look at him take off. Look at the distance between those two cars and the difference in the line.
That's it. He found that high line just a few laps back, and boy, he had motored up through there, took over second place now, and he's catching Terry Labonte.
Only 30 cars on the lead lap as you see Earnhardt go around Mike Wallace in the Heilig-Myers machine. There is that steady progression that Earnhardt has put on this field thus far. But again, Terry Labonte is still the leader if you're just checking in.
And tires are emerging as a major story today. The times have dropped off a little over a second a lap since this event began, and we're looking at 25-second laps. So a second a lap, new rubber seems like a good idea.
There's Earnhardt. He's running in the second spot, and we'll get an interval for you between the race leader. There's Terry Labonte, who will come into the picture right there. He's exiting turn number 4, so it's a fairly significant spread right at this moment. But Earnhardt's making a move and taking his way to the front bit by bit. Martina, great to see you. Good luck with all the Grammy nominations. Look forward to hearing some great songs from you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys.
Good pleasure. Martina McBride here in the booth. We're coming right back with more from Rockingham in just a moment. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by Pep Boys. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low price. Tires and service, everything but gas. Whether you look from ground level or up ahead and up high, it's Terry Labonte showing the way here at the Rock. And those aerial views brought to you by the folks at Steel. Steel, powerful, easy to use, and durable. Qualities you can depend on in Steel territory, and they're responsible for all of the great helicopter shots we're seeing today. Labonte now about to go around the machine of Joe Nemechek. Only 27 cars on the lead lap, and here's Kenny Schrader coming down pit road while you watch Jimmy Spencer and Dale Earnhardt.
He's the front brakes on Schrader's car are on fire. That's why he's on pit road.
Kenny Schrader with fire coming from the right front wheel well of his car as you watch the second and third place cars, Jimmy Spencer and Dale Earnhardt. There you see Schrader's team, Phil Hammer and the crew trying to work on it. Randy, what's the update?
Well, the update is Kenny came over the radio about 5 laps ago and said, guys, the brakes are dragging. He came back over the radio about 2 laps ago and said, I have to pit now. If I wait for 10 more laps, when I would normally make my fuel stop, I'm going to blow right by you in the pits because I won't have any brakes. He said, take some tape off the front of the grill. Let's start working on it. Boy, they're in big trouble. A big disappointment for the Budweiser crew. They had high hopes coming in here to Rockingham. Smoke billows from the Chevrolet.
Boy, tough break right there as the crew tries to work. They'll be going a lap down as the leaders swing on by. There you see Terry Labonte about to go by Rusty Wallace. That'll be at 25th position while Joe Nemechek is on the pit lane. He'll make his stop here at lap number 72. And there you see how quickly Labonte is now pulling away from everybody else.
Jimmy Spencer has made a major move here. He passed Earnhardt. He's in second place right now. He has found that high groove to his liking. He is flying around this racetrack.
He started 28th, and he is now the only man who's not been able to get by the Terry Labonte machine. Car 42, the Pontiac of Kyle Petty. Ernie Irvin right behind him there in the 28 machine. They're battling for 20th, 21st, 22nd spot as we look on from the onboard camera. Good scramble out of turn number 4 back to the stripe as well as 3 wide. Earnhardt and Spencer thought about doing it. There's a good battle now. They had Loy Allen, the 19 car. He was the other man, plus the 75. That's Morgan Shepherd, who is driving for Butch Mock Motorsports. As a matter of fact, we had gotten a question faxed to us a short while ago from Kim Baxter in Arizona, coming in and said, whatever happened to the 75 team? Well, you saw Morgan Shepherd. That is the Remington Arms car right there being bypassed by Dale Earnhardt. We appreciate the faxed in comment from KW Baxter out in Arizona. Let's go to pit road and get an update from there.
Well, Jimmy Spencer obviously is having one of his best career runs here at Rockingham. New crew chief Donnie Wingo has this team snapped into shape. They built some brand new cars for Jimmy Spencer. He has got it dialed in today. The only problem about 2:30. It's fluctuating between 2:30 and 2:40 as he just blew by Earnhardt moments ago. So on his next pit stop, which will be a full gas stop, they're going to take a little tape from the grill. No chassis adjustments are expected. But Spencer having a great run here at Rockingham.
Jimmy is 4.1 seconds behind the leader. Terry working traffic, you see. He's about to go by Ernie Irvin. He'll work to the outside of Kyle Petty. If you're a Ken Schrader fan, he is 5 laps down after the extended stay on pit road a short while ago. Now lap number 77. Robert Presley comes in for service from his crew, as these fellas, I don't think really wanted to go this far, but you got to follow the leader.
But exactly. Terry Labonte is running so well, and he is just going to hang on to that lead as long as he can. He's just out there riding. The car is nice and smooth, and the rest of the front runners just don't want to go in pit as long as he's doing that. Now, once these guys get lapped, they'll go in and pit, take on tires, which has just happened with Kyle Petty. He just got past, went down a lap, put fresh tires on, going to try to make up his lap. But boy, that 5 car is flying.
And Kenny Schrader is going to the garage area. Kenny Schrader taking the Budweiser machine to the garage. There you see Bobby Hamilton in the STP Pontiac, the Pennzoil Pontiac for Johnny Benson in the 30, as Hamilton now makes the move as he comes by him going through the start-finish line area. Mark Martin makes his pit stop now at lap number 79. So much activity. We try and keep you up to date on all that's going on around this racetrack because things happen in a hurry. Hut Strickland making a pit stop. A lot of these fellas just can't wait any longer because Labonte's just making mincemeat of the field. The 30, Johnny Benson, he is in 8th.
And hanging in there, doing a great job. Benson had only run 4 times here prior to today in Busch Grand National. Top 10 every time he finished. He finished 3 out of the 4. Yesterday, he scared everybody about half to death in the last practice session. Coming off turn 2, just about there, he took that thing round and round and round, never hit anything. What happened, John Benson? He said, I just lost him. That's all.
An honest young man.
Yeah, and he's doing great today.
Eli, Robert Presley just made a pit stop. If you want to know what new tires do, he passed Johnny Benson just a second ago. He's almost a full straightaway ahead in just 3 laps.
Of course, everything will cycle around, and if you're not familiar with this racetrack, 30 pit stalls on the main straightaway, the remainder of the field pitting on the backstretch. It's not quite the penalty that it used to be. Now that NASCAR does have pace car driver Elmo Langley under caution make that little acceleration going through the corners. As on the pit lane now, here comes Mark, or at least here comes Jeff Gordon, Ted Musgrave, Jeff Burton is in for service. All of this at lap number 83. So more and more teams just being forced to say, the heck with Terry Labonte, we're just going to go and do it as we see fit. There you see a big pack of cars working through the corner, and there you see the DuPont Chevrolet. Monte Carlo being serviced by Ed Guzzo. A couple of rounds there. Significant chassis adjustments.
A lot of the teams were complaining that their cars just pushed. This one, Ray Evernham was able to adjust between push and loose, and I'll bet you anything they're going to get that thing better now that they've made a pit stop.
Let's go to Randy.
Everybody on pit road, guys, have been making chassis adjustments. Mark Martin went to the track bar adjustment. It's been a wedge adjustment here, a wedge adjustment there. We're waiting for Jimmy Spencer to hit pit road, but it's just been plenty of chassis adjustments. Nobody's got their car to their liking, at least as the first go-round here of pit stops continues.
A 19.88 second pit stop for Jeff Gordon. Derek Cope is on the pit lane as you watch Terry Labonte. Hasn't yet made his pit stop as the race leader. Let's take a look moments ago at Terry Labonte trying to work some traffic. He and Derek Cope were together trying to put Derek a lap down, and baboom.
Well, that's what happens.
Casual contact there. That's just good hard racing. Nobody really meant to do anything wrong there.
And that's what happens when you're on old tires, too. It's really hard to hang on to it. I'll bet Labonte will be coming in soon after that. That was a wake-up call.
Derek Cope is on the pit lane. Dale Jarrett is in for service now. Bobby Labonte making his pit stop. All of this at lap number 86 while we await that man, Terry Labonte. He has been the lone leader of this Goodwrench 400. Here's Ward Burton making the pit stop now. For Dale Jarrett, 25.5 seconds. His pit stop at lap 86. Ward Burton in at lap number 87 right now. And everybody is waiting and watching. Terry Labonte hasn't yet tipped his hand as to whether this will be the lap or not. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Yes, he's coming in this time. Terry Labonte now peels off the banking of turn number 4. Dale Earnhardt stays out with him and now comes down the pit lane. So you've got Earnhardt there and the race leader Terry Labonte both coming down the pit lane. Pit road speed 45 miles an hour. Rusty Wallace is in as well. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Terry Labonte brings the Kellogg's Cornflakes Chevrolet in, and I tell you, they waited them out. Gary Dehart, the crew chief, told me that they weren't coming in, so some of the other guys did. They went almost 90 laps. This is lap 88. That's a long way to go. Jimmy Maycar told me, his brother Bobby Labonte's pit, that they only wanted to go to lap 65. So Labonte's forcing everybody to make adjustments to their pit strategy. Let's go to Randy.
Well, the tape has already come off Jimmy Spencer's front grille. Right side tires are already changed. They're working on the left. Jimmy Spencer, once again, having one of the career runs. Left side tires are on. They've worked on this pit crew over the window to help Jimmy get in on the pit. A nice pit stop for the 23 bunch.
Good stop for him. Michael Waltrip, you see, leaving the pit lane in the 21 Citgo Ford. 19 and 9/10 seconds was the stop for Terry Labonte, the race leader here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Being posted right now, only 10 cars on the lead lap. Of course, everything cycling around during the sequence of green flag pit stops. 89 laps are on the board right now in the early stages of the Goodwrench 400. Glad you're with us on TNN. We're back in a minute. Back with you at the Terry Labonte benefit. He is continuing to pace the field 93 laps into this 400. You see that 800 number? You can call that number, 451-7331. Give the folks on the other end of that number a question, and they will fax it to us here. You don't even have to have a fax machine. Just call that number. They'll jot it down and fax it to us here. We got a question faxed in a short while ago from Amanda in Indiana. Wanted to know what happens if two cars get together, have an accident on the back straightaway. How do you determine who finishes in what position if either car can't continue? And one car's in the wall. We'll get Ward Burton with a problem, and caution is on the speedway. Ward Burton on the wall, running in 17th spot, and we're under caution for the second time here. We'll get back to Amanda's question in a moment. But the man who won the 400 here in the fall, not going to win it here today.
Our pit reporter just called me just a lap before this and said he was beginning to smoke just a little bit, so it may have been an engine problem causing that wreck.
So we are under caution for the second time, lap number 97. Jeff Burton, his brother, had problems on lap number 9. Now it is Ward Burton here at 97. Boy, a gaggle of cars there. Yet right in front of Terry Labonte, too, right in front of the race leader. And you see the resulting problem. Let's see if we get a better look, guys.
Oh, he got collected going in the corner there. There's contact getting in the corner.
That's Ernie in the 28, Terry in the 5, and Ward Burton, who, thanks to the self-cleaning banks, edge up on the low side. Here's another look.
And this is probably the most likely way to have an accident in a big league stock car race. Going into the corner, coming out of the corner, everybody thinks there's room, and there isn't quite room, and Ward Burton paid the price.
Caution, second time today, 98 laps complete of the 393. Terry Labonte, the race leader here in the middle stages of the Goodwrench 400. Welcome back, everyone, to the Goodwrench 400, heading towards the century mark. 100 laps will be going up on the board, this time by Terry Labonte, the race leader, over Dale Earnhardt. Today's AutoZone Tech Fact, an interesting visit with Ray Evernham, and it's brought to you by more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America, the best parts in auto parts.
Some of the biggest advancements in suspension technology in recent years have been with the shock absorber. For many years, you had to buy your shock from the manufacturer, bolt it on the race car, and go race it. Now, with the Racer reserviceable shock absorber, it gives us the opportunity to design and build a shock for each racetrack that we go to. For many years, you had to carry 120, 130 shocks on your race truck. Now you can carry 30 or 40 and continue to rebuild them all year. In order to do that, you have to have a shock dyno. Now, we have a shock dyno on our truck, and we have a shock dyno in our shop. Almost everybody has a shock dyno. I guess everybody's a shock doc.
Everybody's a shock doc, Dr. Bergman.
Well, he's right. Shocks have proven to be the biggest tuning adjustment, tuning aid, if you will, of the 1990s. And one by one, all the teams have had to add the shock dynos to their operations. And boy, everybody's messing with the shocks.
Todd Bodine driving for his brother Jeff back on pit road again. Had a little problem a little while ago. It was tough for us to tell exactly. There you see Mike Wallace in the pits. Oh, we got Dallenbach and Todd together. A little close quarters racing on the pit lane, along with the racetrack itself. We are at lap 101, working the second caution of the afternoon. The leader is Labonte, then Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Spencer, Dale Jarrett, and Bobby Labonte. Ward Burton has done a heck of a job in Bill Davis's Pontiac. 10 races, averaging finishes of 17th. You see all the other drivers, how they just averaged 26th. But Ward is in the garage area right now after an accident. Glenn's with him.
And Eli, he's a little bit shaken up, understandably so. Serious contact with Ernie Irvin out there. Ward, first of all, glad to see you out here. But from your view, what happened?
Well, he might have been under me that much, but it wasn't enough for him to take the position. And, you know, we just had to all give and take, and we got to use our heads, and I don't think Ernie Irvin did that right then.
Is there any chance of getting the car back in or too badly damaged?
Hell, I don't think so. It hit pretty hard.
That's too bad. Tough break for Ward Burton. As you said, Eli had an awfully strong car. One of the best Pontiacs, but looks like his day is done.
Yeah, he's already got a win and 3 top 10s in 3 Winston Cup races here. He won in the Busch Series here, but not this afternoon. Green flag is in the air as we wrap up the second caution of the afternoon, the restart, and Terry Labonte. Time to go, but let's see if now maybe Earnhardt and Jimmy Spencer can stay with him. Those two, as you're just joining us along the way, started further back. They worked themselves to the front together, and they have been knocking off positions as quickly as Labonte has. On the pit lane, Brett Bodine returning from the garage area, so he's back on the speedway. He will be shown at this point 21 laps down, but Brett is back on the racetrack. And Terry is back pulling away as we look at the action from aboard Dave Marcus's Prodigy machine.
20 years ago, 1976, pole winner for this race, Dave Marcus.
You see Jimmy Spencer taking second place away from Dale Earnhardt. He made the pass down the back straightaway. Jimmy Spencer showing a lot of muscle early in the race here.
Sure is. Yeah, a lot of folks forget Dave Marcus's prowess at qualifying. The old K&K insurance car, the North Crosscoff machine. You had Waddell Wilson and he worked together, and they were terrors on the super speedways in particular in qualifying.
Yeah, but his greatest prowess has been his longevity. 789 starts to today, Eli. Nobody else that's racing here today has that kind of experience. Still at it after all these years.
Terry Labonte continues to lead. We are being shown only 16 cars on the lead lap. One of those is obviously Dale Earnhardt in the 3. He is chasing the 23 of Jimmy Spencer. Further back, you've got Dale Jarrett. One car breaks loose as they work through the corner. Hut Strickland now T-boned by Rusty Wallace. You've got Johnny Benson. Everybody else spins. Musgrave is there. Bill Elliott is there. And we are, needless to say, under caution. Caution here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Hut Strickland and the 30 of Benson, the 16 of Musgrave, the 2 of Wallace, the 94 of Bill Elliott. This just coming through turns 3 and 4 at lap number 108. Now 109 as the leader takes the caution. Oh, poor old Hut. How about old Rusty? I ever had one of those days, Buddy Baker, where it didn't pay to get out of bed?
I've hit everything but the lottery some days when I go to the racetrack. And this thing, these guys didn't have a whole lot to do with this. You see the car breaking loose there, Hut. He comes back across the racetrack. Now you have a chain reaction where guys are doing everything they can to miss, and they run in the back of cars and lose control.
You also had Sterling spun in there, I thought at one point, as a trailer. Another angle might give us a better look as to, well, at this point, Hut's already gone. Looks like the car just broke loose. Heck, nobody was around him.
Loy Allen was also involved in it.
Yeah.
And just about everybody else. You could almost go through the starting lineup.
Oh, man.
Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go.
Up on the high side, one is Rick Mast. You saw the Loy Allen car, Musgrave there. He comes nosing in. So we are under caution. Randy is in Rusty's pit.
Well, we continue to document the plight of Rusty Wallace and his Miller guys. They've got heavy left side damage. All Rusty can hope for now is to go out there, ride around, clean this car up, ride around, get some Winston Cup points, and go on to Richmond. But not their day today, obviously.
My goodness. A lot of work down there from that crew as we are working the third caution flag of the afternoon. Last year in the 400-mile race here in the fall, we had 7 cautions for 64 laps. This is the 3rd caution flag of the afternoon at lap number 108 as we ride along with Dave Marcus. Don't want to forget old Amanda back there in Indiana. She told us about that question about scoring as we watch from Dave Marcus's car that accident that happened moments ago. Here's what it looks like.
Oh, Dave Marcus had a little contact there with Hub Strickland and turned him right up into the wall.
You know, that's deja vu with Ernie Irvin and Ward Burton. Same kind of situation.
Now we'll see what Steve Grissom was able to see out of the window of his Hanna-Barbera automobile. He's behind Kenny Wallace. Oh, that is not a 360-degree camera. That was a 360-degree car as we are under caution here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. 111 laps on the board, and the leader, Terry Labonte. We're coming right back. Back at Rockingham, where Terry Labonte continues to lead. This Innovation in Motion is brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. Another tech update from Ray Evernham.
The 2 things that we're trying to control in a shock absorber are roll resistance, what you feel when you turn the steering wheel on your car and it lays over to one side or the other. That's what the driver feels when he's trying to turn the wheel. And the bumps, what you feel when you ride over a speed bump or when a driver hits a bump at 180 miles an hour. Now this part of the shock graph here tells us how the shock is acting as the driver's turning the steering wheel, what he's feeling. This part of the shock graph here is telling us what he feels when he's hitting the bumps. Now each color on this graph represents a different shock. So you can see there are some great differences.
Buddy, that's how you used to do it when you drove, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we had all kind of shock dynos.
Yeah, you're lucky we could spell shock dynos sometimes in the old days. You know, this week marks the end of quite an era in the world of racing, not just NASCAR racing, but racing worldwide. The retirement of Leo Mell. He is the head of the worldwide motorsports operation for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. He retires at the end of next week, and we've got a bit of a tribute.
I'm going to miss Leo a lot because he was a great competitor for us because he always knew what we thought, and he could talk to the driver and an owner and always know how to manage each situation. So Leo's going to be really missed, but we're just glad we had him to begin with.
I, for one, am going to miss him an awful lot. Been around together a long time. But Leo was a competitor. He did whatever it took to see that we had the things in line to win, and that's going to be missed.
I guess the thing that stands out in my mind is Charlotte, the time when no one was on Goodyears but myself, and Leo wouldn't bring a special tire even though we only had one car on it. And then Daytona the other time when just myself and A.J. Foyt were on them, we went in and seen Leo and said, Leo, how about bringing us the Atlanta tire down here? It'll work at Daytona, it'll work good. He said, I can't do it. And A.J. said, why the hell can't you do it? You know, he said, there's just the 2 of us on them. Leo said, we don't have enough to supply the field, and if you guys run them, the others will want them if they're good, and we just can't do it. He said, we've worked too long and too hard to get the good name that we have in Goodyear, and he said, I can't do it. So I really respect him for that.
He's probably the guy that's responsible for all the safety that's been out there, all the great competition. There's a lot of tire companies that came in here that didn't work good, but Leo was always behind NASCAR Winston Cup racing. I hate to see him go. He's a good personal friend of mine, and he's helped a lot in my career when I was growing up to where I got now.
Leo Mell, the man has not got an enemy anywhere, and there are just some of the things that he has managed as we trace his career with the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and we all say a fond farewell to Leo Mell, who in typical fashion said, well, the company's going to get an extra day out of me this year because it's leap year. We have it 29th of February. We have just gone back to green here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, and Jimmy Spencer, shot out of a cannon this time, stays right with Terry Labonte on the start. They've pulled away from Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Gordon. That's your top 5. Heck of a jump that time, though, for Spencer. Didn't want to let Labonte get away. Meanwhile, in the garage area, Randy is watching repairs on the Ted Musgrave machine.
And so is Ted, Eli. I've counted them, 14 guys working on this Family Channel Prime Star Ford. And Ted, I know it's difficult to say what happened, but you're okay. How did you see it out there?
Actually, I didn't see it. You know, the spotter told me they're starting to wreck, and by the time I got there was more cars involved than we figured. I'm not sure what started, but we just got in the middle of it. You know, we're working hard to try and get back out. It's not damaged too bad, the radiator, oil cooler, and a little suspension, but these guys won't give up. We need points. We'll get back out.
Okay, they've got a hydraulic hand pump jack on it. They're trying to straighten out the frame in the front as well. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Randy, I'm down in Johnny Benson's pit, and he's still on the racetrack, so only 6 guys could go over the wall working on his car. He is running 15th, the last car on the lead lap. He did pit every lap under that caution. Major rear end damage, but I didn't see any structural damage. Looked to all be sheet metal. He complained of a problem with the brakes. They came in a couple times, worked on that. He said the car was okay for what they had. He'll just have to ride it out. Tough day for the Pontiacs in that wreck. It took out Benson, also Rick Maston, Bob. Right before that, Ward Burton. So Pontiacs are not faring well at the Rock today.
Though certainly not because of Pontiac performance necessarily, but by virtue of the fact they're getting caught up in a lot of these accidents. And there you see second place. Spencer, the 23, has it. Earnhardt, the 3, wants it.
Yeah, I was just watching the grandstands as Earnhardt pulled up on Jimmy Spencer there. They're beginning to rumble a little bit. They come and they boo him, but they love to see Earnhardt go.
You've got Dale Jarrett in the 88 being watched closely by Jeff Gordon in car number 24, the DuPont Chevrolet. That's your top 5. 6th is Bobby Labonte. Ricky Craven running in 7th. Robert Presley is 8th. Ricky Rudd is 9th. That's your top 9. 10th now. They will show Jeff Burton. Kenny Wallace is 11th. Steve Grissom is 12th. Sterling Marlin is 14th or 13th spot. As you see the names now being shown you on the field summary, only the top 15 are on the lead lap. Johnny Benson and Bobby Hamilton rounding out that top 15. We have had 3 caution flags thus far, if you're just tuning in. And in the garage area, Ken Schrader, Hut Strickland, and Ted Musgrave. We have seen Terry Labonte lead 113 of the 124 laps thus far. Other leads have been held during green flag stops and caution stops and likewise, but otherwise it's been the Terry Labonte battle. 3-way battles there around the racetrack. Bobby Hillin in the 77 car. There you see Todd Bodine driving for his brother. And Jeff Gordon is off the pace. Smoke from behind the Jeff Gordon car. The DuPont Chevrolet going up in smoke here on the main straightaway.
Kaboom.
Kaboom is well said. Understatement of the day, certainly. The 1995 winner of this event. Meanwhile, near the front, Jimmy Spencer has chased down Terry Labonte.
Eli, there's a contrast of the way they're getting through the corner right now. Spencer's moved back up into that high line. They tried to run down low where Terry Labonte was. He lost some ground to him. Now he's moved back up in his groove, and he's actually closed in on Terry Labonte.
Terry Labonte's car just doesn't seem quite as comfortable as it was earlier. He's been going up the banking a tad more. And there is indication from down on pit road that Terry might be feeling a bit of a problem with the car. Glenn, what's he saying to his crew?
There's a vibration in the drive line. I asked Gary Dehart. We heard him talking about it on the radio. He did verify that they've got a problem of some sort. Terry's taking it easy. I have moved down to Jeff Gordon's pit. He is in. He's brought the 24 DuPont Chevrolet in. The car is still running. A lot of smoke coming from it. It sounds like it has dropped the cylinder. It's not hitting on all 8 right now. So we'll update it as soon as we find out. He just shut it off. We'll see what the matter.
And the drivers are saying that that is one of those heartbreak situations because you've got a tough finish at Daytona a week ago. A tough situation here. Obviously, he won't win. He'll go many laps down. Not the way to start off the title defense, is it?
No, it isn't. But, when you look at his finishing record, this is the first real engine-related problem he has had since the shifter incident at Pocono last year. He did not have an engine-related DNF in all of 1995.
There you see first, second, and third spot right now. Kenny Schrader's back on the track. If you follow the fates and fortunes of the veteran from Fenton, Missouri, he is 55 laps back after the stay in the garage area because of the brake problem that we showed you earlier, and the flames had billowed out from the right front wheel, but he is back on the track, 55 down. The only folks in the garage area, Hut Strickland, Ted Musgrave, and now Jeff Gordon as they will push the car behind the wall. Good scramble there. The 98 is Jeremy Mayfield. 15, Wally Dallenbach. 42, Kyle Petty, all of those cars not on the lead lap, but they're battling amongst themselves for 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd position. Glenn Jarrett has an update with Ray Evernham. What are they saying, Glenn?
Let's talk to Ray, Eli. Ray, what happened to the car? It sounded like a cylinder.
Yeah, it lost the cylinder. Right now, we're going to go ahead and pull the push rods and the rockers off so it doesn't blow oil and just try and get as many laps as we can.
Okay, we're going to let him get to work. Let's go to Randy.
Well, I can't tell you right now that the 33 car is hitting pit road. It seems that there's an ignition problem for Robert Presley. We were just getting ready to talk to Hud Strickland. We'll try and get a word with him. He's helping the guys on the Circuit City Ford try and clean this mess up. Hud, what happened and how'd you see it out there?
Not really for sure what happened. You know, I went in on the outside of Marcus there, and I don't know if he pushed up or really what happened there. He just one of them deals with the wrong place, the wrong time. But, you know, just one of them things. I mean, sure it wasn't nothing intentional, but I want to say that's racing.
Okay, good luck at Richmond. Eli?
All right, Randy, thank you. We talked moments ago about Robert Presley. He was running in 7th spot when he had the problem that has now dropped him at least 1 lap down, possibly more as you look at the battle for the lead. Let's also tip our hat to Ricky Craven. He is now running in 6th spot as we see Spencer trying to take advantage of Labonte going back into the corner. Ricky Craven, who started 30th, is now running in the 6th position. But a great battle for the lead, working the back straightaway here in Rockingham. Dale Earnhardt's not in your picture. He's just 5 car lengths further back, though. He's waiting and watching more than anything else.
And what an upset this would be if Jimmy Spencer would win this race today. I went through the garage area this morning and I talked to virtually every crew chief there, and I said, who are you most worried about? And they all said, oh, the 5 car, the 3 car. Not one crew chief mentioned Jimmy Spencer. Look at how well he is running here at Rockingham today, though.
13th Winston Cup race here for Jimmy Spencer, and he has only 1 top 10 to show for it thus far. But he is very much in position because he is one of only 11 men, 12 now, to remain on the lead lap. There is Terry Labonte.
Look at Earnhardt just riding back there in 3rd, watching these guys race and wear out their tires. Earnhardt told his crew that today's race was going to be a race of driver discipline. Who could be the coolest the longest? And these 2 guys are racing each other hard. Earnhardt's just letting his car roll on.
Here goes Jimmy Spencer now. He'll try the outside on Terry Labonte if he can make it stick, going back into turn number 1. High he goes up the banking. He's keeping it wound up.
Eli, that's hero material when you pass somebody on the outside like that. That's a power move. You see Terry Labonte not fighting back right at the moment. I think right now he's just settling in, going to do like Earnhardt, just going to sit there and watch the lead car run.
Lap 137, a new leader here in Rockingham. Let's go to Randy.
Well, there could be a possible problem on the 5 car, and that is they believe they have cracked either the header or the exhaust pipe that trails out of the left side of the number 5 Kellogg's Monte Carlo. So you can substantiate that he would have a little bit of a loss of power there. He does feel a difference, so look for him to possibly string that header up when they pit next time.
Jimmy Spencer, the leader here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham, trying to pull down another NASCAR Winston Cup win. Pretty good mix of Fords and Chevys. No Pontiacs, though, in the top 10. That is where we are, Rockingham. That is where Todd Bodine is in the pit area after a big plume of smoke came out from behind his brother's QVC car. Todd is in for Jeff. The 800 number still open if you'd like to send a question to us here, a thought, a comment. 1-800-451-7331. Never did finish Amanda's question earlier. Every time we open our mouth, somebody went into the wall. She wanted to know, how do you score a car if there's an accident on the back straightaway? And who finishes where? Well, the scoring reverts back to the last completed green flag lap. So if 2 guys wreck on the back straightaway, they will get finishing credit for where they came across the line on the last green flag lap of action. So we appreciate Amanda up in Indiana joining us with a question. We hope to hear from you folks at 1-800-451-7331. Attrition rate, Hut Strickland, Ted Musgrave, Jeff Gordon. Now Todd Bodine taking his brother's car to the back pit area with lot of smoke billowing from behind it. There you see Kyle Petty now working inside of the Jeremy Mayfield automobile, and Robert Presley's car now behind the wall. Randy?
Well, Andy Petrie and the crew surveying the damage. The bottom line is, Robert, it appears it's an electrical problem.
Yeah, that's what we think. You know, the motor, the temperatures was real good, you know. Wasn't running the car hard, just, I think we was up 6th or 7th, you know, just riding. Andy said, you know, you're fast as anybody. So we just wanted to wait this second half and go, and coming off 4 there, going under Craven, it just cut off.
Okay, good luck next week. It's a grind on the Winston Cup Series as far as the 7th car in Todd Bodine. They believe they burned a piston.
There you see the battle for the 7th position on the racetrack right now. Actually 8th at this very moment. We watch from Steve Grissom's machine. You know, shouldn't be surprised that Presley was running up in 7th before he had the problems. That's the same car that won the outside poles at Martinsville last year and New Hampshire back in July. So that's a proven racing machine. And there goes Ricky Rudd high up the banking, opens the inside for Sterling Marlin. So swap them around, gives Sterling the 8th spot, and Ricky Rudd backslides to 9th. Steve Grissom in the Cartoon Network machine. He is being shown in the 10th spot. Kenny Wallace and Bobby Hamilton, the other 2 cars on the lead lap in 11th and 12th. We have had just 3 caution periods here this afternoon. As you see, the 5-car Terry Labonte, the 3-car Dale Earnhardt running in 2nd and 3rd, and Glenn Jarrett is with Terry Labonte's crew chief.
Well, let's ask Gary Dehart. Gary, we reported a little while ago you had a vibration. Has it gotten any worse? Has it stabilized? What's the story?
Yeah, right now it's about the same as it was. It may be just a tire out of balance. We could have threw a weight or anything off of it. I hope that's what it is anyway.
Terry had to give up the lead to Spencer. Is the car working as well as it was?
No, earlier on the first set of tires it was a little bit loose, so we tightened it up a little bit and actually probably got it a little bit too tight right now. But we'll get it freed up just a little bit. We all right.
Well, that's the story. He says they're okay. A lot of concern when that vibration was first reported. Now they think it is tires.
At this point, Dale Jarrett running in the 4th spot. He is neither gaining nor losing anything to the race leaders. If you're one of those who likes to play the numbers game, last year Dale Jarrett, he finished 5th at Daytona last year, finished 5th here at Rockingham. Well, going to transfer that to finishing 1st at Daytona last week. Who knows what will happen around a few hours from now here.
I'm watching Bobby Hamilton in that STP car, that red and blue. That's the color combination that when the whole thing started, they kind of agreed on. Andy Granatelli wanted the car all red. Richard wanted the car all blue. They wound up with a compromise. But when that car gets to the road courses this year, folks, it's going to be all blue, the way it used to be. And that's going to be neat to see.
The old Superbird color, if you will. That was one of those famous paint jobs. Yep, 1972, when STP first joined Petty Enterprises, and they're celebrating all of that here this year for Bobby Hamilton, a very talented young driver out of Nashville. He's really come along a long, long way.
With Richard Petty as a tutor on, as far as his career is concerned, Bobby Hamilton's going to win some races for Richard Petty. Richard's very high on this young man.
That's 5th place coming out of turn 4, right past the camera. That is Bobby Labonte in the 18, Ricky Craven behind him. Craven qualified 8th here last year in the spring and finished 16th. He finished 8th here in the fall. So the fact that Craven is running in the top dozen or top 10, not to be a surprise either.
And he led some laps last week in the Daytona 500. He is off to a terrific start in 1996. Finished 3rd yesterday in the Grand National race after a stirring run. He was one of the few people who could do anything with Mark Martin all day. Craven in the number 41.
There you see Kenny Wallace in the 81. The 10 is Ricky Rudd. That is 9th and 10th spot now. You've got others closing in behind. Bobby Hamilton is right there as well. He's trying to put the blocks on the lapped car of Bobby Hill, and he's the 4th car in that pack. But you've got Wallace on the low side, Rudd on the high side. That is 9th place being contested right there on the racetrack.
Good car that Rudd has got. That's the same car that Hut Strickland put on the pole here last year for the fall event. Richard Broom liked the car so much he went out at auction, bought it. They painted it up in the Tide colors, and it's doing a fine, fine job today.
You know, they don't really have I guess they do have a crew chief, team man. What do they call it? A pit captain on race day. Very unusual terminology for Ricky Rudd's team.
Well, it's an unusual setup as well. Richard Broom goes on top of the roof and he spots for the car. Ross Friesinger is on pit road and they call him the pit captain. And I think what that really means is he's the guy that's supposed to cheer the crew on and talk to the TV reporters.
There you go.
Whoa, Kenny Wallace was some loose coming off turn 2 just then. The back of the car turned all the way out towards the wall. He got it back straight, though, and never checked up.
Those cars there are running for position 9, 10, and 11. The other car in the mix, the 77, is Bobby Hillen. He is being shown an 18th, 1 lap down. Average speed of 120.486 miles an hour thus far. We are at lap 159 of 393. Back up front, you see the Jimmy Spencer machine. He took the lead in lap 137, and he has a 1-second lead now on second place. Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett. There you see the rest of the top 10. Welcome back, everyone, to the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. That is the battle for the lead. Jimmy Spencer kind of skating around on the racetrack just a tad. There you see Bobby Labonte in the 18. Reports on pit road say he may have a vibration in his car as he's being bypassed by Jeff Burton. That is for 5th and 6th spot right now. Burton in the Exide colors for Roush Racing. And Labonte, you see, go way high on the racetrack. So that'll open up the inside if Burton can keep it wound up as they head back to the stripe. Otherwise, Morgan Shepherd has gone to the garage area. John Andretti with a lot of smoke behind his automobile. He has gone to the garage area now. And if Jeff Gordon is the man you like to follow, he's back on the racetrack 35 laps down. But boy, things happen in a hurry here, don't they?
And this has been a great race between these two cars. Burton on the low side, and that pink and black car has been very loose. The tail end will come right up, but I'm telling you what, he is driving a very brave race here, sticking the nose underneath Labonte lap after lap after lap.
Dick, when you run the low line like Burton's doing right there, you can't let the car come off the corner with the thrust that you need to go down the straightaway fast, so you have to kind of check up.
Meanwhile, back up front, Terry Labonte wants to reassume the lead. Jimmy Spencer's had it since lap 137. That is 30 laps ago. Field working back through traffic. There you see Kenny Schrader. He's 55 laps down. Johnny Benson, many laps down.
Discipline. Right here, discipline, as Earnhardt would say, is ever so important. A lot of race to go.
Don't forget Dale Earnhardt. He's running there in 3rd. You see him in the back of that picture. He's behind Kyle Petty, who's being shown a lap down. Robert Presley back out on the racetrack. He is 39 laps down after the electrical problems that were bothering them earlier. So Schrader's back 55 down, and as soon as I say that, he goes back to the garage area again. So Kenny will park it. Brett Bodine is 21 down. Jeff Gordon 35 in arrears. Robert Presley 39 back.
You know, if I were Kenny Schrader, I'd really think about running that car again. If you watched the race in Atlanta last fall and saw Kenny Schrader in the garage work on the engine, bring it back on the racetrack, in the garage work on the engine, this is the same car. He's having the same kind of day today, but this time with brake problems. Get out the torch.
He was 39th here at the Rock last February, so he hasn't necessarily had the successes here he'd like in the early race.
As you can see, Terry Labonte has passed Jimmy Spencer and reassumed the lead. I think Spencer just ran so hard, and he was a little bit...
Trouble in turn 1. Hard crash.
Hard crash up into the corner. We are under caution for Bobby Labonte. Remember, we had said earlier that he was reporting a possible vibration in the car. He was running in 5th as he goes up into the wall, and we are under caution here on the speedway. So caution, and that too is Loy Allen's automobile involved with an accident as well. So caution here at the Rock. It comes out at lap number 172, and Glenn Jarrett, you had the eyeball on it, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely, Eli. I was standing here in Terry Labonte's pit, and I heard a tire blow. Loy Allen got into the wall right dead in front of us here, if you can see out of my camera where he impacted the wall. But there was oil or water or something all over the racetrack in the groove. When Bobby Labonte came through, he got in it. Of course, you're turning right there in the tri-oval. The car just simply spun right out from under him.
Man, oh man. So it happens, and rarely do you see single car incidents, more so at some tracks than others, but let's get a look at it again. Past Jeff Burton.
And that had been going on for a long while.
There's Loy in the wall.
Well, Burton and the 18 just came together.
Let's see if we can get another look and get a better view as to exactly what transpired. That one was a pretty good idea. Let's see what we can get here. Here's Loy Allen after the crash. Oh, and he can't steer. Gave it a pretty good lick, didn't he?
Yep.
So Loy Allen, Bobby Labonte, separate yet related incidents, and we're under caution here at lap number 172. Bobby Labonte finished second here a year ago, but that is not to be here this afternoon. That old car is pretty well used up.
They can't even get it on the record without pulling it apart some.
Yeah. So Loy Allen and Bobby Labonte involved here, and they'll be heading to the garage area. Now from the bumper cam, buddy.
This is from the bumper cam. Now we'll have to ask Bobby Labonte whether he checked up a little bit, because I don't believe that Jeff Burton got into the back of him right down the straightaway without Bobby Labonte having some kind of problem before then.
You see those air deflector flaps come right up as they are designed to do. Let's go back to Glenn Jarrett. He was actually closer to the incident than any of us.
Well, Eli, now that I have seen it, I thought I saw a stream of oil there. What happened was when Loy hit the wall, they were coming up on Loy Allen, and I think Bobby just checked up, saw the wreck in front of him. His spotter yelled at him, "Wreck right in front of you," and he lifted, and Jeff Burton's spotter, or Jeff, didn't see him lift in time and just simply got into him. Now let's go down to Randy Pemberton.
The 1995 Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon has climbed from his car. Not your day today, not your day at Daytona, not the way to start off a season.
It's hard to smile, but we're trying real hard. You know, I think the effort is there, and these guys are working so hard, and that's what I feel for, because, you know, they don't deserve this. I think what the big thing is that we're being humbled right now. We're realizing how well things went for us last year, whether it be the luck or the way, whether or not we broke or not. And, you know, this is frustrating, but we're going to bounce back. We're still going to win some races this year. And, you know, now we're just looking forward to going to Richmond.
No question about it. This is the kind of team that can put a string of 20 together in a row without any problems.
Yeah, they can do that in a hurry, no doubt about it. We're only 11 cars on the lead lap right now. There you see Terry Labonte. Jimmy Spencer is second. Dale Earnhardt third. Dale Jarrett fourth. Jeff Burton is fifth. Sterling Marlin sixth. You have Ricky Craven going seventh. Kenny Wallace is eighth. Bobby Hamilton ninth. 10th is Ricky Rudd. Last car on the lead lap is Steve Grissom. Let's update you again with all that's gone on in the garage area. Obviously, you see Bobby Labonte heading there. Loy Allen, Kenny Schrader's back in the garage. John Andretti and Morgan Shepherd have both parked their cars. Todd Bodine with a problem earlier. Accidents taking Hut Strickland and Ted Musgrave from the race. Jeff Gordon is now done for the afternoon. So it's been a rather high attrition rate here in the early to mid stages of this Goodwrench 400.
Some of those cars may come back out onto the racetrack again, but you're right, Eli. This thing has been problems. Both engines and crashes today have taken a lot of people into the garage area. Even brakes, was the case with Schrader. No
Terry Labonte. Yeah, Terry's been strong all day long. Labonte led the first 88 laps and led from lap 90 through 136. He is back atop the leaderboard here at Rockingham. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Skin Bracer Aftershave. More than a great scent by Menon. Terry Labonte continues to lead. How close, you wonder how we get the great pictures we're getting? Well, that is one of the TNN cameras right there. And you see where the impact was on the wall from that last accident? That is an unmanned camera. The fellows who were there on the still store cameras, but there's the operator of our remote camera. He is well behind the safety of the catch fence, but you see the remote camera that is being worked by the wonders of a joystick from just a few feet away, but from the safety behind the catch fence. We are under caution if you're just tuning in. 4 caution flags this afternoon. We're here at lap number 178. Don't forget, folks, Opryland USA, the official destination of NASCAR. For more information on Opryland USA, call 615-889-6611. Monday through Friday, they are open. If you've not been to Opryland, you need to take the family and enjoy it. It's a great, great time, and the Gold family can vouch for that, I promise you.
You see the 88 car running the bottom part of the racetrack. I understand he's worried about running out of fuel.
Let's go to Randy.
You are exactly right, buddy. There have been a couple of guys that are concerned about it. Earnhardt has taken a dip down too, going down the front stretch. There goes the 88 on the bottom. Pit road still closed. They've got to get pit road opened up pretty quick. DJ is worried about fuel. He is slowing going into 1.
He was in at lap number 86 for fuel. Dale Earnhardt came in 2 laps later at lap number 88. And right now they are looking, NASCAR is, at the integrity of some of the walls out there. We saw where Loy Allen impacted the wall and all. And NASCAR is not going to put this race back under green until they are sure that everything out there is in safe condition. They, of course, have the care unit out there. Loy Allen was involved along with Bobby Labonte. And NASCAR obviously taking a long, hard look at all of the safety out on the back straightaway, checking, make sure all the drivers are okay. And the field now is being brought virtually to a crawl by Elmo Langley, who drives the Pontiac safety car. All the attention being riveted to the Loy Allen automobile at this stage of the afternoon. Red flag now going in the air as Doyle Ford will signal the red flag. And there you see the Loy Allen car, young driver from Raleigh, North Carolina, being tended to. And we'll get another look and see exactly what happened to his car. By that point, he'd already gotten out of shape.
Eli, he's already had tremendous impact on the right front corner there. He has no brakes or any steering whatsoever. You see it going into the inside wall. Watch this hit. Boy, he hit hard right there.
He did that. So Loy Allen is now being tended to by the NASCAR safety officials. And that obviously is a reason for the red flag. His safety paramount to everyone. So the red flag being thrown here at lap number 179 at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Terry Labonte, the leader at the red flag. Commercial transportation for this broadcast has been provided by Ryder, the official transportation company for Opryland. Back with you at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, where Terry Labonte has led all but 34 laps here this afternoon. And obviously the cars have been stopped, a red flag condition here at lap number 179 for an incident that brought out the 4th caution of the day. It's a twofold situation that's unfolding on the back straightaway. Matter of fact, Bill France Jr., the president of NASCAR, just stepped into the booth moments ago, and he's saying, obviously, number one, we have to tend to the welfare of Loy Allen. His car is still there, surrounded by all the safety crew members. And number two, he said, we cannot open, speaking for NASCAR, he said we cannot open the front pit road, which obviously is totally unencumbered. There's no problem there. But he said we can't open the front pit road because you see there, you can't come down the back pit lane. And there are some significant race cars that are pitting on the back stretch. You have dual pit roads here, and obviously you can see that the entire entrance to that back pit lane is blocked, and there's no way you can have 30 guys pit and penalize the other dozen who can't get to their pit stalls. So twofold concern, number one for Loy Allen, and number two for the lack of access to the back pit road. If you're just tuning in, here's what happened in the incident. Not so much to Loy, we saw that earlier, but here's what happened to Bobby Labonte at lap number 172 as he was going past Jeff Burton there and heading up towards the corner. There's Loy, top of your screen. He's already in the wall, and there Bobby Labonte has the car get away, and up the banking he goes in close quarters racing with Jeff Burton right behind him. Let's get the word from Bobby Labonte. He's in the garage area.
Well, Bobby Labonte absolutely is just distraught over losing this race car here today. The crew is working on it. It's a delicate situation to get these drivers when they wreck. We try to respect them as best we can. He had some local reporters here that he didn't exactly agree with their questioning of him a few moments ago. So Bobby Labonte has taken a little walk to take a few breaths and gain his composure. We'll try to get back up with him as they attempt to fix the interstate batteries machine back here in the garage area.
All right, Randy, thanks a lot. Everybody's still waiting on the disposition of Loy Allen, and he is being tended to while we watch Bobby Labonte's car. Loy being tended to at the end of the pit lane on the back straightaway. 29-year-old from Raleigh, North Carolina, and there you see Loy Allen's car. They had to really work hard to get him from the machine.
But that's always the first concern around here.
Sure.
Always, always. Nothing matters more than the drivers.
And there he is on a stretcher, obviously. You see the stretcher being rolled to the ambulance, and Loy will be taken either to the infield care center or to potentially another medical facility here in the Sand Hills region. And certainly we'll get an update from the guys on pit road here as quickly as possible. But Loy Allen and Bobby Labonte in the garage area. Obviously Loy not to return. Bobby Labonte's bunch still looking at the Interstate Batteries Chevrolet. Under red flag conditions, we are at lap number 179 of 393 here in Rockingham. Terry Labonte leads under the red. Welcome back, everybody. Red flag conditions here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. There you see the top 10 as we are under this red flag condition. Terry Labonte having led all but 34 laps here today. Some cars having some pretty decent runs, but they're actually all being overshadowed by the superb run by Terry Labonte, Jimmy Spencer. Dale Earnhardt is third. You've got Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton. And what about Dale Jarrett running low on fuel? We saw a short while ago that he was already kind of idling on the flat of the racetrack. Glenn, does Todd Powers, his crew chief, have any concerns or what?
A lot of concern, Eli. We'll just ask Todd, can he make it back?
Yeah, things running right now. If it come in right this time, we can make it.
Well, it's really kind of a blessing if we're going to have to stay out there that they stop the cars, because you guys would have probably run out in a lap or two, right?
Oh, yes. Good thing they did stop them, or we would have run out of gas. We'd had to come in, get fuel, and gone to the tail end of the longest line. That'd been a shame because we got a good race car, and we need to stay up front.
Car looked like it was a little bit tight to begin with. How is it now?
Still just a little bit tight. We're going to free it up a little bit this time.
All right, well, they're getting ready. They're hoping they're going to turn them loose. They definitely need gas.
So the caution flag is flying again. For those of you not familiar with the rules of NASCAR Winston Cup racing, you can do no work on your car at all when the red flag is being displayed.
Well, Jimmy Spencer has just come into the pit area, and the flag is waving that says it is closed.
Boy, that's a huge mistake on Jimmy Spencer's part right there.
Let's go to Randy.
Well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he'll end up going to the longest line. If that's correct, they're going to go ahead and fill. They needed gas. They just, radio Jimmy said, you have got to pull that thing in here right now. Likewise for Dale Jarrett as Jimmy Spencer pulls away.
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer came in at lap number 88 as pit road is now officially open after a 9-minute and 15-second red flag period. So 9 minutes and 15 seconds, the delay under red. And you're right, Jimmy Spencer really had no choice. I mean, you got to come in and go to the longest line of traffic on the restart, or your day is totally done.
Or sit on the back straightaway and watch everybody go around anyhow because you're out of gas. I mean, he had to do something.
So Jimmy Spencer comes in at lap 180. If you were curious about the back pits, you've got Sterling Marlin, who's running in 6th spot, pitting on the back straightaway. Ricky Craven, who's running in the 7th spot, he's pitting on the back straightaway. So that was another reason why you could not at all penalize anyone because of a problem elsewhere. Leaders are on the pit lane. You've got Terry Labonte at the top of your screen, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett. Under caution, these stops are. All coming at lap number 181. You see the STP Pontiac on the right of your screen. He's in. Steve Grissom is in as well. Earnhardt, the first one away. Dale Jarrett, the second. Labonte down off the jack, and he's gone. And they'll be heading back to the line, and it'll be Terry Labonte.
And Dale Earnhardt just paid the first price for not being the Winston Cup champion. He did not get the first pick of pit. Terry Labonte got to pick a pit that was further up and beat Earnhardt out of the pits as a result.
10th place, Ricky Rudd seemed to have a problem, Randy.
Well, Ricky just came over the radio and said, sorry, guys, I don't think I've ever done anything that stupid. He drove right on by him on pit road. Flat, missed it. Has to come around. He'll pit this time with a big group of cars all pitted around him. The Citgo car is in. Here comes Ricky into his pit now. He's fuming about this one. He just drove on by it. They're going to go ahead and put 4 tires, fill her up with Unocal fuel.
Well, at least he doesn't have to deal with an angry car owner. He owns the car.
So he did lead a lap, though, for that little miscue. Everybody else pitted. Ricky Rudd gets 5 bonus points, maybe to appease himself just a bit. We'll be right back. Back with you under caution here at the Goodwrench Service 400 live here on TNN. We are in Rockingham, North Carolina. 184 laps on the board right now as we work under this caution period, the 4th of the afternoon. Interesting happenings on pit road moments ago. There's the rolling spam can for Lake Speed, and here's what happened.
See the tire carrier coming around here. He stumbles just a little bit, gets in the path. Wow.
It's a tire carrier on Mike Skinner's car.
So you want to be a crew member, they say. There's Lake Speed, and let's get an update from Glenn Jarrett. He's down at the Infield Care Center.
Well, Eli, we moved down here. Obviously, we can't get in there yet, but we got good news. One of the people from the team came out and told us that Loy is awake. He is breathing on his own right now. They're not sure of the extent of his injuries right now, but they're going to move him from here to the Carolinas Medical Center to more thoroughly check him over. But good news so far. He is awake, alert, and is breathing well, so no problems there. They just don't know how bad it is. We'll find out more as soon as we can and let you know. But good news so far.
That is wonderful news. You kind of get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, and you try not to get too close to any of these guys, but you've got to be close enough to have that good working relationship, and you always feel kind of queasy when it's a friend down there.
And he is a guy that's real easy to get close
yes,
to.
He is,
think absolutely everybody in the garage area likes Loy Allen. He's a young man who just has got the kind of personality that's very, very attractive.
Won the Busch Pole for the Daytona 500 back in February of 1994, you might remember.
Also an ARCA winner.
Yes, he is. Well, we've talked so much about Chevy, about Ford, about Pontiac. Why don't we take it a little bit further here as we work this caution flag. Look at these numbers, Dick Berggren and Buddy Baker. You guys are the experts in that, but folks talk about what is different among these cars, so on and so forth, and that's a very vivid explanation.
Well, what NASCAR is trying to do is to make the various brands run as evenly as they possibly can on the racetrack, and here you want to have a bit more spoiler if you possibly can. So the Pontiacs and the Fords, they've got about 3/4 of an inch more spoiler, exactly 3/4 of an inch more spoiler than the Chevy does. The air dam, that's the front of the car, is a little bit closer to the ground with the Fords and the Pontiacs than it is the Chevy, except this air dam. Looks like this one's a little bit unadjusted.
Well, NASCAR kind of got the bull by the horns and said, we're going to the wind tunnel. The Chevrolet proved that they had more downforce, so that was the way they regulated the cars and made everybody on the same fighting field.
Except for Daytona. At Daytona, the only difference was that the Ford was allowed a roof that was 1/4 inch lower than the Chevrolet or the Pontiac. Other than that, the spoiler, ground clearance, all of it was the same for all of the brands. Well, it sure looks like they've got them running pretty evenly today. I think the Pontiacs would have had a better showing if so many of them didn't get damaged, because they surely have been fast. We've seen both fast Fords. There's the fastest of them, who's getting moved to the rear now for taking that early pit stop, and fast Chevys as well.
Now, Jimmy will stay on the lead lap, but as we had mentioned earlier, he pitted while the red flag was closing pit road, and that would mean he has, as a penalty, must start at the tail end of the longest line of traffic. So Jimmy Spencer is going to be moved there right now. As Glenn told us moments ago, Loy Allen's next stop will be the Carolinas Medical Center, and they have just cleared the Victory Lane area, which is just adjacent to the helicopter pad there, and they are going to be taking Loy Allen via helicopter to the Carolinas Medical Center for a further look-see. But that's where we are now. We're going back to green flag racing. Mark Martin starting to the inside of Terry Labonte. Mark is only a lap down in car number 6. Let's see if he might be able to get a jump here and get his lap back. Doyle Ford puts the green in the air, and here we go. Labonte revs him up in a hurry. He'll leave Mark behind him.
Whoa! Tangled right there in the first turn.
Just about lost a whole bunch of cars, because if those two had gone, everybody else is going to stack up behind them. Everybody sorts out. Mark Martin couldn't get his lap back. Terry Labonte leads. Dale Earnhardt is second. Dale Jarrett is third. Bobby Hamilton fourth. Sterling Marlin is fifth. Ricky Craven is sixth. Kenny Wallace is seventh. Ricky Rudd is eighth. Steve Grissom ninth. Jeff Burton is 10th. And Jimmy Spencer is 11th. Those 11 cars are on the lead lap.
Terry Labonte has checked out as if to say, I've had about enough of that wheel-to-wheel stuff after that exciting start with Mark Martin. day driving a brand new car. I asked his crew chief, Gary Dehart, where all the speed came from. He says, you know, he says, sometimes when you buy a box of chocolates, you stick your finger in, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. This car was real good.
There's Jimmy Spencer in the 11th spot, trying to pick himself through all of that pack of traffic right there. You ever think what Labonte would have been like last week in Daytona if they didn't have that plastic bag that kind of got caught up under the cowl, under the air cleaner and so on? I wonder what all that meant to his show last Sunday.
Can you imagine? He was dominating the show, and a plastic wrapper off somebody's sandwich went through the air cleaner and blocked off the fresh air.
Here's Dale Earnhardt now, catching the leader.
And he led the most laps in the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Good race here for the lead.
And we're also 5 laps away from halfway. The folks at Gatorade again this year will be passing along $10,000 to the leader at halfway. And Earnhardt wouldn't mind taking home that check, but Labonte has plans for it too.
He wants that check, but he wants these 5 points for leading also. You see him up under Labonte as they come down the front straightaway. Earnhardt's just a little bit in the lead as they come by the flag stand.
That'll be 5 points for Dale Earnhardt right there. Well, no, now they're going to say he might not have beaten him back to the stripe. So they're going to have to wait and see. All the scoring technically done in front of the scoring stand here at the line that is painted on the racetrack. Now Labonte goes high. This time Earnhardt comes to that stripe and does beat him in front of the eyes of Morris Metcalf, the chief scorer of NASCAR. So that time Earnhardt does officially take the lead at lap number 194. So he'll lead for the first time and get 5 bonus points. Now they're going to battle for 10 grand.
The Intimidator and the Iceman. What a nice race this is.
Really is a good race. Started off very honestly like there wasn't going to be a race with the way Terry Labonte was running.
And look at Bobby Hamilton running in 3rd spot.
He and Dale Jarrett looked like Bobby Hamilton almost bottomed out there just a bit.
Well, this same car last year, before they put the new body on it and all, they built a car especially for the mile tracks, Richard Petty did. And you see Bobby Hamilton now. He's been very quiet at this point, but he's moved steadily up through the field, now running 3rd.
Mark Martin, the 3rd car in your picture there. He is a lap down in 12th. There's Jimmy Spencer working to the inside of Kenny Wallace. He's already up to 8th now, Spencer is. Wallace also on the lead lap, as the leaders now will come down towards 3 and 4. This is for $10,000 coming to the crossed flags this time. And this will be scored at start-finish. Here they come to the halfway point. It'll be Terry Labonte by inches that time, as he came to the stripe here at the start-finish line.
Terry Labonte was definitely in the lead when they went by the flag stand.
Oh, he had a good couple inches on him.
Well, here they came to the stripe, and $10,000 as the crossed flags are out for the race leaders. 197 in the books as we head now on the downhill slide towards 393. I'm feeling the second half of this race is going to be a damn. Front two there.
This battle is a dandy.
Yeah. Working up towards turns 3 and 4.
You know, people talk about marketing as being the reason folks are in the grandstands at Winston Cup. This is the reason folks are in the grandstand at Winston Cup.
From 2nd place Earnhardt to 3rd place Dale Jarrett, 1 2/10 seconds now. Average speed 102.489 miles an hour. There is Dale Jarrett, winner of the Daytona 500 a weekend ago, winner of the Busch Clash 2 weeks ago today.
Whatever they did to the 88 car on that stop, he is a rocket ship. He passed Bobby Hamilton just a few laps back, and look what lead he has already over these guys, and he is running the lead cars down as we speak.
Well, Todd Parrott, his crew chief, has got probably the best record of any crew chief in Winston Cup. He has won 1/3 of his starts, 1/3 of them.
Here now is Jimmy Spencer as Ted Musgrave returns from the garage area. He was involved in an accident earlier today, if you're just joining us, at lap number 108, and he is now back on the racetrack.
Think I got to tell anybody that Todd Parrott has done 3 Winston Cup races and won 1?
Well, it might be worthy of a mention.
It seems fair.
Ted Musgrave is 74 laps in arrears.
For the race fans that want to see sheer brute force, look at the 23 of Jimmy Spencer. He's dicing through these cars. He's going right back to the front. What a great drive by Jimmy Spencer.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, the racing action overhead, that helicopter carrying Loy Allen Jr. to the Carolinas Medical Center. You heard the update from Glenn Jarrett a short while ago. He is complaining of a shoulder injury, we are told, but Loy is awake and alert, and certainly that's the best news of the day. There are the mid-race numbers, and this mid-race report brought to you by Splitfire. Enter the performance zone with Splitfire Performance V spark plugs. Most of the story, Terry Labonte. Look at that. I'm waiting to see old Spencer get to the front again. That's going to be good.
Well, if you can hold your breath long enough, he's on his way. I tell you, he's driving that car just like on a half-mile dirt. I've seen him cross it up 2 or 3 times, but that don't seem to bother Spencer at all. He's like Dale Earnhardt. He can do a lot with the loose car. He drives the wheels off of it every lap. 204 laps on the board right now. As this field now gets back to some big-time racing. We look at it from the windshield of Steve Grissom's car. We're coming right back. Welcome back, everyone. And there's the toll-free number, 1-800-451-7331. If you'd like to fax us a question or a comment, we do have a ton of those that have come in. Just call in the question to that number, and they'll fax it to us here in the booth. Paul from Missouri wants to know, do drivers take their numbers with them when they change teams, or how are they assigned? Normally, the car owner buys the number, just like Richard Petty will be 43 as long as he wants that number. He just buys it back every year.
Jack and Josh sent a question in there in Georgia. Want to know, can race teams reuse tires after they've taken them off the car and they cool down? Is there any benefit to reusing them again?
If you want to go to the last place, that's the way to do it. Put an old tire on there and everybody else puts new tires on. They grip so much better with fresh rubber. Once you heat them up, they harden up.
The only time we ever saw that was in the days of the tire wars, when the tires were too soft, really, for some of the racetracks, and periodically they would recycle tires, but you don't see that anymore.
Tim questioned us from Ontario, the province of Ontario, Canada. Why don't they have a way for drivers to make chassis adjustments themselves from inside the race car? And certainly the technology is there, Dick, but that's a dollar figure to start dealing with, too.
Well, it's a dollar figure, and I think it's also a concentration figure, Eli. If you're running as close as Winston Cup cars run to each other, you really want to have the driver paying attention to where he's going rather than adjusting anti-roll bars or brake balance or any of that kind of stuff.
Great battle now for 4th spot. That is Ricky Craven in the 41, Bobby Hamilton in the 43, and give Craven the spot. Couple of the young Lions as we take you all the way back through the field so you know where your favorite is running. This field update brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Pretty good runs. As you see, only 11 cars on the lead lap. Jimmy Spencer.
Oh, trouble's on the way. Bobby Hamilton and them better get going, because I tell you, Jimmy Spencer is not saving any part of this race car. He's running like there's 10 laps to go.
He was 5.8 seconds back at the last time by. He has cut about a second off in 5 laps or so. I mean, he has really been making a move in a hurry.
Buddy, aren't you a little surprised that he's able to go this well, that he hasn't burned his tires up already?
Jimmy Spencer can drive that thing without tires, I think. He's a pretty strong lad. I guarantee you, he's giving her a ride. As we speak, he's going by Bobby Hamilton down into turn 1.
They go on the low side of the racetrack. Hamilton gives room. That'll be 5th place changing hands. If you're a Robert Presley fan, he is on his own pit stop schedule because of the electrical problems he had earlier. He's on pit road now at lap number 217. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte still shows the way. He has led much of this afternoon. Let's get an update from pit road.
Well, Eli, we just monitored Dale Earnhardt's radio conversation, and he's telling his crew chief that he's getting a little water off the number 5 car. Says it's pushing a little water out. I asked Gary Dehart, Terry's chief mechanic, about it. He says, no, we're not having any problems. So maybe Earnhardt just wanted NASCAR to hear it like we're hearing it, just to alert them to the fact that nothing's really going on. I saw something before the race today I've never seen before. I saw Dale Earnhardt ask Martina McBride for an autograph. I've never seen Earnhardt ask anybody for that.
Just proves he's a smart man. There you see the 41 of Ricky Craven, the 23 of Spencer, 4th and 5th spot. We saw Bobby Hamilton before. There you see Bobby, the 43, with the paint job of the old STP Dodge that he has on his Pontiac here. We got a question that was faxed to us. Kenneth in Mississippi wants to know, you're talking so much about that old Dodge paint job. When will Dodge get back in Winston Cup racing as we watch Spencer and Craven? Dick Berger, what are you hearing? Now, you got your ear to the ground. They're in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Any rumbles from the Mopar folks?
None whatsoever. No, they don't seem to have the same kind of enthusiasm that Ford and Chevrolet have. We'll see what happens in the showroom on Monday morning.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly be talking about some Mopar products when we join you from Homestead, Florida later this season, actually next month, with the season opener for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There is some factory support in the truck division.
Yeah, they're in the trucks, but they just don't seem to want to do it with the cars. They seem to have more interest in overseas open wheel racing.
I was watching Bobby Hamilton just a second ago when Jimmy Spencer went by. He changed his line from middle part of the racetrack to way up high. Now he's, of course, when I talk about it, he runs white line all the way around. He gets by Ricky Craven. But he did turn up the wick just a little bit, and he's trying to go with Spencer towards the front.
That's kind of like your tooth never hurts when you go to the dentist or something like that, isn't there? Let's take a look at Terry Labonte there. As he goes back around the racetrack. Looked like he picked up a piece of debris or something. See that low side of the car there? Yep. Looks like he had a piece of debris. Spencer had what Randy Pemberton was telling us a bit earlier, that I guess Jimmy Spencer had a piece of debris on his car, and it got blown off. Can that little piece of debris make a car this technologically advanced run hot?
It could very easily make it run hot. I hate to say this. I just seen some water out of the right rear corner of that car as he started in the corner.
We sure did. There's that piece of paper on the air dam, and we saw a little water coming out of the overflow, which is out the back of these cars as the car goes. My goodness. Plastic bag last week, piece of napkin here or something today. This one's not over, folks. Stick around. I believe we're going to have some drama before this one's over. Lap 224 on the board. Terry Labonte, complete with paper, is the leader. Welcome back, everyone. Live at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. Eli Gold, Dick Berggren, Buddy Baker, Randy Pemberton, and Glenn Jarrett with you from the Rock. Terry Labonte is the race leader. That is he in car number 5, making his 508th consecutive start here today. The record 513 held by Richard Petty. So Terry with no problems would break Richard Petty's mark when we all head to Martinsville on April the 21st. But he's not worried about that right now. He was worried about a potential problem on the race car that might have just blown away. Glenn Jarrett, let's see. Did you notice that piece of paper still on Labonte's car?
Well, I have to wait till he comes back around, Eli. You know, so far, Terry Labonte has blown the competition away here today, leading 193, now 194 laps that we've run. Of course, last week he had a piece blowing the carburetor. This week blows on the front of the car, heating it up. Gary Dehart has seen it. Gary, how bad's that heat problem now?
Well, right now it's getting pretty bad. 240, we're going to pit here in a few minutes to put water in it. We got crash all over the grill.
It looks like now when he just came by, it was gone. The piece was gone.
Yeah, but we're out of water. We need to put water in.
He's coming in right now. We'll get out of the way. Tough break.
Glenn, we were talking amongst ourselves here that could you believe if they had a problem like this after Daytona? We said, well, he's probably going to slit his wrist. What did he say to you down on pit road?
Right before he had to run out of his way, Eli, he said, man, if this costs us another race, I'm just going to shoot myself. They are really despondent down here, and you can't blame them. Obviously, he has got the dominant car. I can't believe for 2 weeks in a row that blown trash has cost him problems.
Here comes Terry Labonte now. He slows off the racetrack. He'll come down pit road. The Wood brothers have Michael Waltrip on pit road also. The hood will go up on Waltrip's car. But here comes Terry Labonte. He will yield the lead with an overheating problem at lap 235. Let's go back and watch this bit of precision work. But it is a heartbreaker nevertheless.
No debris is showing on the grill, and they're not even working on the grill. They're working on the engine. That hose is to inject water under high pressure. They'll try to keep the engine running so they can get that water in. Now they're starting to clean off the lower part of the grill. What a heartbreaker. Terry Labonte absolutely dominated this race. until this.
My goodness. There was a lot of rubber buildup on the top part of that grill as they were wiping it with their hand. You can see it rolling off there. But I'm afraid he might have done a lot of damage. You see the smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe on the left-hand side there.
Oh, goodness. There's Dale Earnhardt now. He has taken over the lead. Jimmy Spencer now in the second spot. Randy's been watching from Earnhardt's pit.
Well, the 5 car has just now confirmed engine gone on Terry Labonte. So the Hendrick guys really having a tough day. Dale Earnhardt's going to cruise from here on in, see if he can win this race, come out of here with the points lead. Earnhardt's crew was constantly chattering back and forth when Labonte was pushing water out. They kept saying, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. Randy, is he going to make it? He's not going to make it, they kept saying. So they were pulling for him, if you know what I mean.
And that really is what goes on down on pit road. A lot of everybody knows everybody. Everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen, so their guy might get a bit of a break. Earnhardt's on top of the heap as we're live at the Rock. From high above the North Carolina Motor Speedway on a magnificent day here in the Sand Hills region, we welcome you back to the Goodwrench 400. Pictures coming to you, compliments of the fine folks at Steel, who have brought all of our helicopter shots to us this weekend. Steel, makers of a full line of leaf blowers, trimmers, and the #1 selling brand of chainsaws worldwide. Let's check in with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, they vacated Terry Labonte's pits right now, but look at this stream of oil. You can see Johnny Benson's pit crew cleaning it up there. Leads all the way down into Terry's car. You see that big puddle? That's oil, folks. The damage to the engine was already done. He had already pegged the needle. It was out of water the last 2 laps, so whatever problems he has on terminal. Right now, I'm going to go try to find the gun because Gary Dehart's looking for it. I don't want him to have to use it. Man, I can't believe the bad luck these guys are having.
It is unbelievable as Dale Earnhardt continues to lead.
Jimmy Spencer has come from last place to less than 2 seconds right now on Dale Earnhardt. He is moving in. As you see him, he's the 4th car in that picture coming at you. He is absolutely flying around this racetrack.
2.28 seconds, and the Wood brothers are going to have to park Michael Waltrip's car. They are pushing it backwards up the pit lane while you watch Jimmy Spencer make his way past the Jeremy Mayfield automobile. Jeremy celebrating an anniversary this week. He and his wife Christina celebrated their 3rd wedding anniversary last Tuesday. But Jimmy is motoring to the front again, but Michael Waltrip now gone to the garage area. He'll join Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Loy Allen, Kenny Schrader, John Andretti, Morgan Shepherd, Todd Bodine, and Hut Strickland. If you're wondering why we've not talked about your favorites, they might well be on that list of retirees.
You can see just a second ago Jimmy Spencer there. Bobby Hamilton is going right in his tire tracks, and he's picked his speed up. A while ago, Spencer went right on by and pulled out about a half a car length. You see him working on Spencer's back bumpers. They start down the front straightaway.
There you see Bobby Hamilton. All the while, Dale Earnhardt still leading, but his car not nearly as well behaved as it was earlier.
No, he just called into the pit crew, Eli, and told him that the car is loose, and we have seen that as well. You keep an eye on Earnhardt's car. Every once in a while, you'll see him go through the corner, and the back end of that thing will wiggle. I want to be glad it's Earnhardt driving it. Mark Martin now goes into the pit area.
Mark Martin being shown in 11th spot. He is the first team 1 lap down, and there is not a lot of feverish work from Steve Meal and the boys. So they are going to pop the hood on Mark Martin's car, but we're going to stay with the action on the racetrack. That's Dale Jarrett ahead of Ricky Craven, the 88 and the 41 machines. They are battling for 4th and 5th right now.
Craven, last year's Rookie of the Year, one of the young Chargers. Here's one of the older Chargers. Spencer in one of the best runs of his entire Winston Cup career here today.
Bobby Hamilton's going to make him earn his spot, though. You see Bobby Hamilton try to make the move on the outside. Spencer kind of counter-checked him there on the outside and moved right away.
Spencer has just done a great job today. All these cars that he's passed on this run, haven't seen him touch anybody. He's just gotten right by every one of them, clean as can be.
So Dale Earnhardt continues to show the way. The average speed of 109.170 miles an hour. It is a Chevrolet leading a Pontiac here at Rockingham. Back at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. The leader is Dale Earnhardt. Terry Labonte, though, led 198 laps today, but he's going to watch the finish in the garage area. Let's hear from him.
Well, Terry, you about had him killed, but it's not to be for you today.
No, it wasn't. I guess we cracked the cylinder head or something. I really don't know. The thing got hot and pumped all the water out. We couldn't put the water back in it because it was just coming out the tailpipe. So it's some pretty serious internal problems. It was a real shame. That's the second week in a row. We had a great car. These guys on the Kellogg's team have just done a fantastic job for us. And, hey, we'll try again next week.
I have to ask you to speculate. Spencer looks like he's having the run of his career out there. How good is he?
He was running really good. Really ran good. He came up there and passed me once, and I was able to get him back, but he was awful strong. The 3 car's strong also, and he seems like he's always stronger when it comes around to the finish time, so it ought to be close.
Yeah, good luck next week.
You talk about Dale Earnhardt being strong. Right now, he's only a second away from putting the 9th place runner, Jeff Burton, a lap down. And as far as Spencer, you guys were guessing he might have used up his tires. He has gone from 2.2 seconds behind Earnhardt to now nearly 5 seconds behind Earnhardt. And I think it's not so much Dale speeding up, but rather the other.
And he's also lost a spot to the 43, Bobby Hamilton. I mean, it just takes a lot out of a race car to run through the field the way Spencer had to run through the field. And he really had no choice. He had to do just that in order to get back up to the lead group after having taken that pit stop earlier.
Around Brett Bodine, he had problems earlier. Brett is some 67 laps down, if you're just joining us. Mark Martin has gone to the garage area as now the 9th place man is on pit road. Jeff Burton comes in to make a stop here at lap 261. He couldn't wait any longer, so now only 8 men remain on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt, it's not all clear sailing, even though you're the leader, buddy. You got to force the issue sometimes.
Well, Earnhardt don't wait on much of anybody, and now he's 3 wide coming down the front straightaway. This guy don't wait on anybody. He's racing very hard right now.
Rick Mast there, the number 1, had just pitted, and that's the 99 in the middle, Jeff Burton, who he put a lap down. So that's why once Burton lost his lap, he came down the pit lane. Darrell Waltrip is in for service at lap 261. Dale Earnhardt continues to show the way. Only 8 cars on the lead lap. Kenny Schrader back on pit road now after many laps behind the wall. There you see Jimmy Spencer. He's in the 3rd spot. Dale Jarrett right behind him. There are your top 5. We'll continue to keep you updated. And caution is on the speedway. A car in the wall. It is the Ted Musgrave car. Ted Musgrave didn't lose all of that sheet metal this time. He was involved in an accident, you'll remember, back in lap 108. But he now will bring out the 5th caution flag of the afternoon at 265. Lap 265 will be the first lap of caution. Ted Musgrave in the wall in turn 2. Now, pit stops came a little bit too late to this caution for guys like Rick Mast. Jeff Burton was praying for a caution not to lose a lap. It came tardy for him. It'll also cost Darrell Waltrip, who had pitted just before the yellow came out.
But for the rest, this is exactly what they wanted. Dale Earnhardt needed this pit stop, and so did the 23, Jimmy Spencer.
Ted Musgrave trying to roll that car down, and he'll just roll it slowly towards the garage area. So Ted Musgrave, who was behind the wall earlier, if you were with us, again, he was involved in the 3rd caution of the day. He stayed behind the wall for quite a while, but came back 74 laps down, and now he's in the wall yet again. And here comes the leader. Here's Dale Earnhardt now, coming down pit road to the attention of his crew. Let's see what they do. You got Bobby Hutchins and David Smith, co-crew chiefs this year.
And some new members working on that team. Andy Petrie is gone. Gene Dehart's now doing the right fronts. David Smith, jackman since 1982, is gone. Mike Moore is doing the jacking duties on that car. So to a degree, we have at least a partially new pit crew here.
Now Bobby Hamilton is in for service in front of Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Eli, they were going to make a chassis adjustment. They wanted his pit stop. Bobby gets down and away, and it looks like Jimmy Spencer's going to beat him out for 2nd place, but they did change 4 tires, adjusted the chassis. He's got some fender damage on the left front of the car. When I get a chance here, I'm going to find out exactly what happened there. Now let's go down to Randy. He covered Jimmy Spencer.
Well, Jimmy Spencer in and out. These guys really look good on pit road, not to mention how good they've got this car running. Jimmy Spencer came in, he changed 4. They laid the spoiler back just a tick on the 23 car, which I think would mean he's going to loosen them up just somewhat. He's got fresh tires, and Jimmy is ready to go to the front.
He has been trying that all day while it's business as usual for the cars not on the lead lap on pit road. We take a break. We are in Rockingham, lap 266. From high above the North Carolina Motor Speedway, we welcome you back to Rockingham. We want to mention that highway transportation is provided by Cedar Ridge RV Center, Branchville, New Jersey. Featuring Winnebago Motorhomes. Call 1-800-988-4884 and find out why Cedar Ridge is the choice of champions. Hey, don't forget, coming up right after the race today, a special episode of the Dukes of Hazzard. Coming up right here on TNN. Of course, Tom Wopat, who now hosts Primetime Country, part of that Dukes of Hazzard cast from years gone by. Special episode coming up right after the race today. Let's check in down on pit road as we continue under caution.
I'm still in Robbie Hamilton's pits, and Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, told me that they put a half round of wedge in the car. It got a little loose on the long run right at the tail end of it. The fender damage was from an earlier wreck when Marcus and Hut Strickland wrecked, and now we're standing beside the king himself. And hey, man, want to ask you, that old paint job looks pretty good running up front there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes me feel at home.
Well, you won a lot of races here at Rockingham. Can they still use some of that knowledge that you gained over the years to apply to the cars now?
Not really. Just go out there and run for it. If everything falls our way, we'll be okay. If it don't, then we'll take what they give us.
Pretty proud of this bunch, though, aren't you? They've done a great job. I say you're pretty proud of this bunch. They've done a great job.
Yeah, they're doing good. Everything's going good. We got that wreck, got behind, but everything's starting to fall our way. So all we got to do is run the rest of the race and not have no trouble.
I'm going to have to move away. He's just so excited here. He doesn't want to talk anymore.
Just got a question faxed to us. Mike is in Florida. Wants to know, how do they align the cars with a piece of string? Good question from one of our viewers.
Randy, that's your special.
I have no idea. I've seen it done by a few guys a lot of times, but I have no idea how they do that.
What they do is they take the alignment of the rear tires, they run a string up to the front tires, and then by measuring from the front of the front tire to the back of the front tire, they can tell what the toe-in is.
And there it is from Dr. Dick Bergren, who had that great-looking dog on that pre-race. What a wonderful dog you've got.
Hurricane Joy, world's best dog.
There you go. Green flag is in the air. Restart lap, as you see, 271.
I will elaborate a little bit on what you were talking about. You also check for the rear end to be in line with the front also when you string the car. Yep. Here's Jimmy Spencer in second place there. You see him coming into the corner there. He's trying to get up with Earnhardt. Earnhardt's got a great restart there. Bobby Hamilton's hung on the outside. Dale Jarrett's coming by.
Dale Jarrett in the 88 just made the hard turn and grabs the inside against Hamilton. And old Darrell Waltrip made a nice move to get around Jeff Burton in the 99. Darrell driving the 17 machine. They're posting 9 cars on the lead lap at this stage of the afternoon. Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Hamilton, Dale Jarrett. Jarrett, of course, now in third. Hamilton in fourth. Ricky Rudd, the tied car. He's gotten around Hamilton, so Hamilton drops back to fifth. You've got Sterling Marlin, Steve Grissom, Ricky Craven, and the 81 of Kenny Wallace. 3 wide in many spots there because so few cars are on the lead lap. Here goes Jarrett. Dale Jarrett makes a bid for the lead. Earnhardt, though, comes charging right back in car number 3, and here comes Rudd. He'll grab third from Spencer.
Wow, look at this. Jarrett, your Daytona 500 winner, takes the lead. Ricky Rudd in second. Where'd he come from?
He has just come up out of nowhere. He's just been riding all afternoon long. Dale Jarrett now, the new leader of the Goodwrench 400, takes over here in lap 273 officially. And you know, Dale has only led 3 laps here in Winston Cup competition in 17 previous races. Only had 2 top 10s in those 17. How about this for a turnaround here today?
Well, I tell you, for a new race team, this team looks like it's been together for 10 years, and they're out there running right now with some of the best. You see Ricky Rudd going for the lead down into turn 3. Ricky Rudd is a very fine, slick track driver. You see Spencer trying to figure out who he's going to go with.
Here comes Rudd to the stripe, and he will take over the top spot here at the Rock. Ricky started 25th, and he's now showing the way. From above on the steel aerial platform, Spencer settles into the second spot now. There goes Earnhardt to reassume a spot against Jarrett. That's the battle for third. Here comes Bobby Hamilton.
Here comes Spencer on the outside now. He wants a piece of this thing. Whoa.
What a great race this one's turning out to be here this afternoon. Glad you're with us on TNN. Rudd, Spencer, Earnhardt, Jarrett Hamilton in that order.
There goes Jimmy Spencer back on the outside. He's back up in that groove that he made work earlier in the race. You see him coming off the corner there. Ricky Rudd powers off the corner, but I don't believe he can keep up with Spencer as they come by the start-finish line.
There goes Hamilton, the 43, trying to work inside of Dale Earnhardt going into the corner.
And old DW hanging back there in fifth spot, watching all these guys abuse their tires as they're looking for position.
There's Darrell, the fifth car on the racetrack, not being shown on the lead lap at this stage of the afternoon, but it's unfortunate because obviously the Western Autos Parts America car is able to keep up with it.
You see Bobby Hamilton there moving into second place. Richard Petty said he was just biding his time. Everything went their way. They thought they had a great race car. He's proving them to be right now.
Very competitive afternoon. You just saw the numbers. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Dale Earnhardt's crew chief David Smith told me that Dale hadn't said anything since the green flag fell again, but they were a little bit loose. They adjusted at that time, so maybe Dale's just settling in, getting away from the use of the car drives. A lot of guys wanted to lead a lap there. There's no point in fighting them right now. There's still a long, long way to go in this race. They feel confident he can stay right there to the end.
We are at lap 279 of 393, so as Glenn says, we still are quite a ways from conclusion.
Bobby Hamilton in second spot has never won a Winston Cup race, nor has his crew chief, Robbie Loomis. Car owners won a couple of them, about 200 of them. Hamilton did a lot of the testing to help develop this Pontiac. He went to Atlanta last fall and just ran lap after lap after lap, a couple of thousand of them. But nobody took the Pontiac to a racetrack like this. This is the official Pontiac test this afternoon. I'd say it's doing pretty well, Eli.
I would think so. This, of course, could be, if Bobby Hamilton gets to the lead, it would be the first time he has led here in his 10 events thus far. But getting to the lead, getting by Jimmy Spencer is a whole different deal. Let's not rush things here. Spencer, the leader, by 6 car lengths here on lap 282. Welcome back to Rockingham. We've got a lot more racing here, and don't forget, join us tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Cash and Carry Grand Prix, SCCA Trans Am Racing from St. Petersburg, Florida. Right here exclusively on TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer. Rick Benjamin will be down there in St. Petersburg with all the doings. That's coming up at 9 Eastern this evening. Jimmy Spencer continues to show the way. Bobby Hamilton in second. Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett. That's your top 5 right now. Sterling Marlin, Steve Grissom, Ricky Craven, Kenny Wallace. The other members of the 9 cars on the lead lap right now.
What was it we said about parity earlier in the show? Look what we've got.
We got a Chevy.
A Ford.
Earnhardt Chevrolet.
Hamilton's Pontiac.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Got to be some big old smiles in a lot of folks' faces. Pontiac just didn't know, I guess, exactly what they had. Here goes Dale Jarrett.
Dale's running a if there's such a thing as tire management, look where he's at in this corner. Now, that works for him. Other cars can't stay down there. But he seems on long runs to be able to manage his tires and have a little more near the 100-mile mark.
The other thing I've been impressed with today, and you see it regularly basically, is that some fellas are a little more difficult to pass on certain racetracks. And these guys have been thinking ahead, not to pass somebody of a particular concern in the turns, but to make a pass here on the straightaway.
I can tell you this, passing Jimmy Spencer's like trying to pull a crocodile's tooth. You don't want to do that.
You do not tug on Superman's cape.
Lap number 291. We have 102 revolutions remaining here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. Of course, pit stop still going to have to be name of the game. There you've got the 81. That'll be Kenny Wallace, the 4, Sterling Marlin, as they battle in the top 8 and 9 here this afternoon. Old Kenny, Herman as they call him in the garage area, he's done a heck of a job here this weekend after, you know, didn't come out of Daytona necessarily with the best week he had hoped. He had the problems in the Gatorade 125s down there, but he's done himself awfully proud here this weekend.
You know, I guess if all the people in the garage area, if you went to every driver and said, do you like Kenny Wallace? Every single person in there would say, yeah, very much so. He is a tremendous competitor, too. And to be running this well this late in the event, that proves that he's really done his homework and he's got a great race team this year.
The 4, Sterling Marlin, around the lapped car of Darrell Waltrip. Old DW is up here in the booth in our coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday. As we ride with Steve Grisham. He's on the lead lap. Meanwhile, near the front, 4 or 5 car lengths between the 23, the leader, Jimmy Spencer. Bobby Hamilton's closing in. Bobby Hamilton last led an event at Atlanta last year, and here he goes trying the high side back into turn number 1.
Something wrong with Spencer. He's falling off the pace a little bit.
Or is Hamilton just turning up the wick?
Don't know.
Hamilton is the new leader here in Rockingham. First time he's led since Atlanta last season when he led 9 laps. Let's go to the pits.
Yeah, you got it, Eli. He blowed her up. They believe they're going to try and ride it out. There's no question about it. Spencer is not going to win at Rockingham today. Wow, what a heartbreak. I think that was the best career run he has ever had. Man, he's just not going to do it today. That engine's gone.
My goodness. You know, we talked about it very quickly yesterday, Buddy Baker. I mean, if a guy is playing baseball and he drops a fly ball, well, hey, you screwed up. But when a part breaks and it takes you out, how in the world do you deal with that?
Well, you just have to realize, hey, I had a great race car. We have a good setup to come back here with in the fall and go to the next race, because that race team is together now. Jimmy Spencer's driving the race car very well. You just forget about it.
So take a look at it, folks. The Richard Petty-owned car is right now at the point inside of the final 100 laps here in Rockingham. It's Pontiac in the lead. Welcome back. Glad you're with us. We are riding with Dave Marcus, and hopefully you folks are dialing that toll-free number. That's a way for you to give a question to the operators, and they will send it to us here at The Rock. You can answer your question on the air as Dale Earnhardt finally now gets by Jimmy Spencer for a guy who, I guess, apparently has lost a cylinder. Old Mr. Spencer still giving that car a heck of a run.
Eli, when you have a motor problem like that, you can run nearly wide open all the way around the racetrack. So the car was handling so well, he's still keeping up a good pace around here.
And that tells you where a lot of his advantage was this afternoon as well.
He is starting to smoke, though, a little bit. You see, Dick, and see, fellas, he does a little puff of smoke out of the back of the car. You know, last week when Jeff Gordon didn't finish at Daytona, he had the longest streak of active drivers with DNFs, did not finish. Then, of course, he didn't finish. So the streak reverted to Jimmy Spencer. Spencer came in with the longest streak of consecutive races without a DNF, and, of course, he's still running. But it's in 19 where he hasn't had a DNF since the June race at Dover last year.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That line he's taken, he is so far up the racetrack, he looks like a Harry Gant of old. Remember how high Harry Gant used to run this racetrack? He'd be almost up into the wall, he would run it so high. Here and Dover, Spencer seems to have taken a page out of Harry Gant's book and made it work for him today.
There we watch Jimmy Spencer as Bobby Labonte is on the pit lane coming back out of the garage area. He was involved in the accident earlier in the afternoon at lap 172. Now he's returning at lap 308, so Bobby is back. As we watch Spencer, Ricky Craven, he's having a superb afternoon. Hey, did you see where the young man from Boston University, Travis Roy, who used to work on Ricky's car? If you're not familiar with the story, a young man from Boston University, a hockey player, was injured in his very first shift as a hockey player for the Boston University Terriers, and he's an official member of Ricky's pit crew and so on. And Travis Roy is now he's been relocated to Atlanta in a special spinal cord rehabilitation facility, and I know he is looking on today, and Ricky always makes makes it a point to say hello to Travis and to the family. He's always in Ricky's heart.
You know, you look back at the old pictures of Ricky Craven when he was running short tracks and when he was first getting involved in Busch North, and Travis Roy is in an awful lot of those pictures, the victory lane shots especially. Very brave young man, Travis Roy.
Very, very brave. You see Ricky Craven right there, car number 41, about whom we spoke. You know, you talked about Petty's car, Richard Petty's car, leading here in Rockingham. A lot of folks don't realize that when Richard Petty won his most recent race back in 1984, he was not driving for Petty Enterprises. A lot of folks forget he was driving for Mike Curb at the time. And he had Buddy Powers as his crew chief there, and at Dover that year when he won his 199th. Petty Enterprises had been in victory lane since '83. That's the last time a car coming from the Randleman shops was in victory lane. There you see Bobby Hamilton's numbers, 2 9/10 seconds on Dale Earnhardt. But again, there's still a lot of racing to go here. There are pit stops that have to be made and so on. But it has been a long time for Petty Enterprises.
Well, it's looking awful good this afternoon, and I'll tell you what, the folks at the grandstands here are absolutely cheering that red and blue number 43 on.
It's like deja vu when you look out there. You just kind of think, well, that's Richard Petty just for a second, because I've seen that same paint job in my mirror coming up to put me away, and I tell you what, it's not a pretty thing.
How'd you do here at the Rock, Buddy, during your racing days?
I ran fairly well here. I always enjoyed the racetrack. It's one of the finer racetracks as far as a driving racetrack. It's kind of like Darlington. There's a certain pride of putting a good race together here at Rockingham. You go to Darlington, they don't say it was a great car. They normally say, hey, everything was right.
And finishing is a big part of that, and that has got to be on Bobby Hamilton's mind. The last 4 races he has run here, he has only finished 1 of those races, and that in 30th spot. He's gone out with engine problems, handling problems, accident problems. I'm sure they're thinking about how many more laps they have got to go with this car.
And now they're also getting a lot of sand that comes up off this ground here in the sand hills. It starts hitting the windshield, and that's Steve Grissom. He'll be going down the back straightaway, but as he comes towards turn number 1, you'll see what these fellas have to deal with now as the sun is a bit lower in the horizon. It's not an easy view, is it, Buddy, going into the corner?
You can see he's virtually blind going into turn 1 right here. That's where you just, I used to ask my dad when he run the beach at Daytona, I said, how'd you know where to turn when you got the windshield all messed up? He said they wouldn't let people stand within 100 yards of the corner. When you run out of people, you crossed it up.
I thought you were going to say when he heard water. We are working under green here at lap 314 at the Rock. That was the voice of Buddy Baker. 12 top 5 finishes that man has here. As we ride along with Dave Marcus here at Rockingham, remember Race Day, hosted by Rick Benjamin, live on TNN Motorsports this evening at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. He'll update you on the doings here. He'll have NHRA news. He'll have Trans Am updates from St. Petersburg, all tonight right here on TNN Motorsports. And riding along with a legend, we are right there, old Dave Marcus. Wausau, Wisconsin, now home in Avery's Creek, North Carolina.
And you saw him wave to one of the competitors behind him, letting him know it's okay to go by. He's running in 25th spot. Marcus, 54 years old on March 1st. He'll be 55.
Yeah, and he don't even have a helmet restraint on his neck there. That's one tough old bird right there. You look at him, how he goes in the corner and just kind of squats down with his neck. You see it kind of go down there. Now, when he comes out on straightaway, he don't use all the new devices that most of these guys do. They do everything but a Western saddle in some of these seats.
Yeah, look at him looking up at that rear view mirror, checking to see who's behind him, make sure everybody's got plenty of room.
There he goes around Brett Bodine. Dave Marcus, I still think the best line of all speed weeks at Daytona, you know, Dave Marcus has, with the Prodigy sponsorship, the computer online service, they even had a show car. And Dave said, almost sheepishly, he said, Eli, do you ever think you'd see the day when Dave Marcus had a show car? And that might have been a heck of a statement on where that man has persevered and come to, because he has always operated on a shoestring. That's the leader right there, Bobby Hamilton in the STP Pontiac. You know, you realize if Petty's car, if Richard's car wins this race, they're going to tear the grandstands down.
Yeah, I was kind of worried. We're kind of high up here. They'll have knocked us right out here.
The thing is, they're rebuilding this for the fall. When we come back here, there'll be beautiful new suites, a new broadcast booth for ourselves, for radio, a control tower for NASCAR. But, I mean, they're going to be dancing in the aisles.
Well, the demolition,
Bobby Hamilton can hang on.
Yeah, the demolition crew will be on the way for sure if he can win it.
There's old Dale Jarrett, the 88. We've not talked much about him here. Still on the lead lap. Glenn, what's the story in your brother's pit?
Well, Eli, in that last caution flag, they made a change. They took a rubber out of the right front to loosen the car up. They'd been a little tight all day. They got it too loose. When he took off at first and roared by him and took the lead, the car was perfect. But after the tires got some heat in them, it really got loose with him. He's just biding time now till they can come back in, readjust the car. But he's fallen back to 6th now. Has not been able to catch him past Jimmy Spencer, even with the engine problem.
And Jimmy Spencer just hit the wall going through turn number 4. He's got smoke coming from behind the automobile. Now, what happened first? Did he hit the wall, or did he have a smoke problem that sent him up? But he scrubbed the wall between turns 3 and 4. And what a heartbreak for Jimmy, who led so much of this afternoon.
Yeah, he had a good run going, even with the motor giving him trouble. Boy, he's got something wrong now. You see the car going back up towards the wall there.
And caution is on the speedway. Oil now being reported around this 1-mile oval from Jimmy Spencer's car, and he will bring out the 6th caution of the afternoon, lap number 328, as Jimmy Spencer's afternoon apparently has ended here. Here's what happened.
Well, you see him going in the corner there. He gets a little bit out of the groove. There's a lot of debris on the outside there.
I don't think he hit the wall.
No, never did.
I think he just went right up. He got real close to the wall, smoked before it, got close to the wall. I don't think he hit it, buddy.
Okay, what happened there? He knew he had oil, and he was trying to get out of the racing groove because you can see it's over with now. The thing is really giving up.
So we are under caution, 5th time today, and there you see Jimmy not only led 53 laps, but he put on a thrilling battle to get back to the front repeatedly. Remember, he pitted too early at one point, had to go to the longest line, the end of the longest line of traffic. Now, here come pit stops, and this should take everybody to the finish. We're at lap 329, so this is now time to put a premium on the pit crews. Robbie Loomis and the boys waiting for Bobby Hamilton. You've got Bobby Hutchins and everybody waiting in the Earnhardt pit. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Earnhardt brings the number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet in, Eli. They're going with the right side now with rubber. They will come to the left side. As I told you, they made an adjustment last time. Dale never said whether he liked it or whether he didn't. Obviously, it wasn't quite as strong, so I think they made the adjustment this time with the tire pressure on the tires. So they're putting the left sides on right now. He's down and away.
There you see Bobby Hamilton, Robbie Loomis and the boys working on it. The car down and away. Dale Earnhardt, though, beating Mr. Hamilton off the pit lane and back onto the racetrack. Let's go to Randy Pemberton with an update on Jimmy Spencer.
Well, the update is the hood is up, the car is shut off. They're trying to figure out what they could do to this automobile to help him finish the race. Water pours from the overflow on the left rear corner of the car. The 10 car of Ricky Rudd pitted just moments ago. No adjustments for him. Has several more come down pit road, but Spencer just sits in the car, now takes off his helmet. He's going to be done for the day.
So Jimmy Spencer will be the 10th official retiree, but we have had at times today 17 of the cars in the garage for service. We'll come in right back. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Pontiac has been driving excitement to 2nd place right now behind Earnhardt, the leader. You're looking from high above the track. A great helicopter shot all afternoon long from the folks at Steel. Powerful, easy to use, and durable qualities you can depend on in Steel territory. Ricky Craven making a pit stop on the back straightaway, and he had the hood up on that automobile. So we'll keep an eye on Ricky Craven. He is one of just 8 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt discussing things with Elmo Langley there.
He would rather do that,
he
Elmo.
Loves that, isn't it?
You should see Elmo's face right now. I guarantee he's going, what is he doing? He'll run up there. He used to tag him every once in a while, but they got on him pretty heavy for that.
We got a photo with the magazine of him with his front bumper right into the back bumper in the pace car in an IROC race.
Yeah. Well, hate to go and chat with a guy who had such a great afternoon, but Jimmy Spencer, we got to hear from him, but he's out of the race too darn early.
Well, he's getting a cold drink, just climbed from the 23 car. Jimmy, you gave the fans in the grandstand a thrill today. I know your fans were thrilled, but not to be for you.
No, not really. You know, great pit stops, great race car. Donnie Winger's done a heck of a job with the crew. Cecil's here. I tell you, everything's going to the best it can be. You know, hey, we blew up today. That's life, but I'll take it all the time if I could come up there and lead them races and stuff like that. That's all I asked for out of my pit crew. They gave me a hell of a race car today.
You've had some good runs in your career. Was this the best?
Oh, it's clearly the best. This car was so fast. I mean, the dang thing. I couldn't do nothing wrong, you know. I mean, when I bided my time with Terry to see, I thought Terry had the best car next to mine, and you know, Terry done a heck of a job racing me really good, and I passed him anytime I wanted to, you know. And I'll tell you something, Terry blew up and I blew up, so I'd like to see Richard Petty's car win this race. Sentimental reasons there, you know. Hopefully he can do it. Smoking Joe's team will try and do a little bit better next week and hopefully finish.
Okay, good luck next week. Eli?
All right, Randy, thanks a lot. Track cleanup is continuing after the oil that was put down, so why don't we break away again? Closing in on the finish of the Goodwrench 400. Welcome back, everybody. Still under caution here at Rockingham. Don't forget, next Saturday evening, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll be in Richmond, Virginia for Race Talk. We'd love you to join us toll-free and talk with our special guest of the week. We'll wait and see exactly what unfolds here today before we make our guest selection. That's next Saturday evening, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Race Talk right here on TNN Motorsports. Let's go back to pit road.
Well, guys, I took a quick poll of all the cars that pitted down here, the cars on the lead lap, the ones in my area, as to what they did. Richard Petty's car driven by Bobby Hamilton. Bobby told him to leave it alone. Don't change anything. Dale Earnhardt's tire sheet showed neutral, so they left his alone too. Did not make any changes on him. Dale Jarrett put the rubber back in the right front of the car. Well, he didn't do it, but the crew did. Put the rubber back in the right front of the car. Then they took a round and a half a bite out of it. Hopefully that'll adjust his car. Now let's go down to Randy for the Ricky Rudd's pit.
Absolutely no changes on the Tide machine. He likes it the way it is, so he's going to run with what he's got.
All right, fellas, we appreciate the update from down on the pit lane. Got a great question here that was faxed into us. Somebody wants to know from Tennessee if Steve Grissom's wife's name is Wilma. From the Cartoon Network car. Her name is Susan. Bob in Tennessee wanted to know if Steve that was his picture on the car and if he's married to Wilma. We're back under green here at Rockingham. 337 of 393 laps are complete. Oh, Derek Cope, he was the first car a lap down. He has just unlapped himself. See if he can stay there. He's been quietly lurking around the lead cars all day long after problems early. He's come back to get on the tail end of the lead lap now.
He's been fast the whole time here at Rockingham.
Really
Yep, he really has, and his speed seems to be about in the middle of the corner, which is the most difficult part of this racetrack.
And of course, Robert Arthur Allison, the car owner there. Bobby Allison, a four-time winner here. And we were talking before what Richard Petty can teach to Bobby Hamilton. I dare say, Bobby remembers a few of the tricks. Let's see if Derek Cope can stay there. Earnhardt, the leader, he'll swing by him here at the start-finish line by inches to put Cope a lap down. But Derek's not going quietly, but finally yields as he goes to the high side.
And 20 years ago this race, Eli, Robert Arthur Allison found himself bouncing down the backstretch in one of Roger Penske's cars. Were you involved in that in any way, Buddy Baker?
He was so high, turning over down the back straightaway.
How high was he?
I went under him.
Oh. Did you really?
Yes, I did. I looked up to see the bottom part of his race car.
My goodness, 340 laps on the board right now of 393.
That's the one where he had the Coca-Cola in the cooler and it spilled all over him, and he sort of came to and he's covered with Coke, and he thought, oh my goodness, the world has just ended. I've had it.
Look at this, Eli. Here comes Bobby Hamilton.
He yielded the lead on a pit stop, but here he comes back to take it away from Earnhardt on the racetrack. 341 laps now on the board. This fan support here is just, I don't know why they bother to sell seats. Nobody's sitting down anyway. Why don't they sell standing room? But the fans just loving it here. But here comes Earnhardt right back.
How many times have you seen Earnhardt push the issue like that? Somebody go back. He passed him exactly where Bobby Hamilton passed him back.
So Earnhardt now trying to go back to the front. And he'll work the low side of the racetrack. 342. Bobby Hamilton's radio you hear coming over top of our telecast. We kind of eavesdrop just a bit. Of course, with permission to do so, we might add. Here comes Hamilton right back.
Wow. Oh. Hamilton on the low side now, and he's got the lead back.
Now remember, Ricky Rudd, the 10 car, he's on the lead lap. 88, Dale Jarrett, he's on the lead lap. All 4 of those cars battling for the lead right now in the late stages here in Rockingham.
Look at Earnhardt right up under him right now. Now that'll loosen you up.
Whoa! I guess.
That'll loosen you up. Hamilton into the wall.
Boy, he was lucky to save that car. Wow.
My goodness, Dale Earnhardt hangs to the lead now at lap
right rear pretty hard.
4. Right rear, you hear them tell him.
We're smoking the right rear pretty bad. 3 car hit us, Robbie.
That would be Dale Inman up on the roof telling Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, exactly what happened.
Okay.
Bobby says seemed to be handling okay.
He doesn't want to go in the pits. He wants to stay out there.
Also, Kenny Wallace got around in that exchange. So Kenny is now in 4th. Hamilton is backslid to 5th. We're still seeing tire smoke, though, guys.
He has, if you can get a picture of the right rear as he comes in this corner, you can see concrete dust on the wheel itself. So he had some pretty good contact.
And caution is on the speedway now. Caution is on the speedway. Some debris up in the corner, turn 3 and 4. And caution is on the speedway. And we'll have to take another look at exactly what happened for caution at lap 347.
Okay, Earnhardt's right up under him, right about there. Just a little contact. Hamilton gets sideways. He goes up, gets the outside wall. Very lightly. He was very lucky not to spin out there.
He did a beautiful job of keeping that car under control. There it is. Ricky Rudd goes down low.
Dale Jarrett sneaks under the bottom side there.
Yeah,
Derek Cope comes by.
And they may have had some contact there too, buddy.
So caution, lap 347. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett. He's in the Bobby Hamilton pit as Hamilton and Grissom come in to make a stop.
Well, they're discussing what they're going to do right now. Obviously, they got right side tires they're going to pull in. I imagine it'll be obviously will be a 4-tire change. They're going to check that damage over. Now, there's nothing I can see on this side except the damage that was already there. Put fuel in it. They don't need much. They've got a board out there to pull the fender away on the right rear, to pull it away from that tire. That's their main concern right now. They're coming around to change left side tires, but most of the work is centered on that right rear, getting that fender off of that tire. Left side tire's going on. Obviously, no chassis adjustments or anything like that. I don't think that it really damaged the car that bad, guys. So this may be a breaking away because he's going to have 4 tires, a little fresher than anybody else's.
That's a good point that Glenn brings up there.
Absolutely. You see the car there. They pull the fender away from the tire. It's no longer smoking. I think he's going to be okay. Certainly hope so anyhow. He drove his heart out today.
Here's another look at what happened from one of our speed shot cameras here at The Rock. Just hang on and ride with us.
Oh,
that was our speed shot camera. Wonder what the tab is on one of those babies. 348 laps on the board. As everybody checks the racetrack, some teams make their pit stops, and the finish is just around the corner. Hang with us. We're back in a moment. We are live at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham with 8 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt presently leads. He has led 6 times today for 57 laps. There have been 20 lead changes among 7 drivers. Terry Labonte, who is in the garage, in case you're joining us along the way, he has and will lead the most laps of the day. 198 laps Terry Labonte led before engine failure sent him to the garage area. 1 to go now, the signal that the field is getting. We'll be heading back to green flag racing. Now the tire difference, and Glenn brought up a wonderful point there before with Bobby Hamilton and Steve Grissom coming in with new tires, and they'll have a significant number of laps of fresher rubber versus what Dale Earnhardt has.
It could be the difference right now. Bobby Hamilton's awful strong. If he has any advantage at all, the way he was running, that could be the difference.
So we'll find out here as we get set to head down the finish. Lap 350 on the board. 43 laps remain to settle this Goodwrench 400. Let's follow up with Glenn Jarrett even more on pit road. Glenn?
Well, I asked Robbie Lemons how many laps he had on the tires, and all the excitement, he didn't really know. He said he thought about 8, maybe 10 laps, but at the most. They were radioing, they were talking to Bobby. Right at that time, he said, Bobby said, take your time, be careful, get a good finish. Hamilton said, no way, man, I'm going to win this thing. All the guys on the radio, on the crew just cheered. So they think they still got a shot, and I think they're right.
Doyle Ford puts the green in the air, and here we go. Earnhardt gets away quickly. Ricky Rudd of the 10 stays right with him. Dale Jarrett, Kenny Wallace, then Bobby Hamilton. Down the back straightaway, 77, that's a lapped car, Bobby Hillen. The 12, that's a lapped car, Derek Cope. Here they come to the stripe. As the laps wind down to conclusion.
You know, we're talking about everybody. Ricky Rudd running the second place there has a real good shot. He's giving Earnhardt all he can stand right at the moment.
Back up into turn 3 and 4. Bobby Hamilton, rear of the car, seems to be kicking just a little bit.
I don't think he helped him much when he hit the wall.
No.
Sometimes you can knock the rear end housing over just a little bit and it won't show up until you go in that corner in full speed for the first time, and then all of a sudden you realize you do have a problem. But Bobby Hamilton has fallen back several times, and after about 8 or 9 laps he really gets going.
There you have the 5th place battle now. Steve Grissom, we're riding with him, looking out towards Bobby Hamilton. That is the battle for 5th spot. Hamilton hangs on to it for the moment. There's that glare we talked about now as they head towards turn 1, and the windshield is getting pockmarked from the sandy area here at Rockingham.
Watch Bobby Hamilton. That's the car directly in front of you, the Richard Petty car. You see him going on the bottom side there. The car looks like it's tracking pretty well there. I think what it takes is about 4 or 5 laps for him to really get that thing gathered up and get going.
You also got Kenny Wallace in the scene, number 81. He too on the lead lap. He's in 4th spot. Man, some of the names at the front of the field today, huh?
Pass on Hillen. Hillen is a lapped car behind Hamilton, but this is a pass for position if he can get it done.
Hamilton in the 43. All of this behind the race leader, Dale Earnhardt.
See Kenny Wallace there in the 81. What a great run he's had today. He's been right up front all day long.
This has been one of the best runs of his entire Winston Cup career. Another guy who has never won a Winston Cup race, Kenny Wallace.
Phil Martossi and the crew, basing their operations in the past in Nashville, Tennessee, moving it on to Charlotte, North Carolina area. They're excited about this year.
And that's so they have really opened up the wallet. They are spending a ton of money on that car to get it up front. Rudd has never won here either. He's finished second 3 times, never won here. Jarrett has never won here.
You know, I don't think Bobby Hamilton's car is anywhere close to as fast as it was before he hit the wall down there. The car just does not seem to work as well as it was prior to the wreck.
No, it really isn't.
That is Hamilton, the 43, the lapped car of Bobby Hillen, the 77 right behind him. It's a half second now from Dale Earnhardt, the leader, back to Ricky Rudd in 2nd spot. 359 laps on the board now. 34 remain. Well, let's find out more from Glenn Jarrett in the Richard Petty, Bobby Hamilton pit area.
The concern is, guys, they think they bent something when he got in the fence. They're suspecting it's a left rear trailing arm. So you're absolutely right, buddy. It's nowhere near what it was. I don't think he's going to have anything to mount a charge. He's trying to hold on, get a top 5 out of it, but it's definitely not as good as it was.
Just watching Kenny Wallace running 4th spot right now. That would mark his second, actually tie his best finish in a Winston Cup race. If memory serves, back in 1994, I guess Kenny finished at Martinsville Speedway. Finished 4th that day. That's where he's running right now.
Look at Ricky Craven there in the 41 trying to put Hamilton back another spot, and does so on the inside.
Well, Ricky Craven now moving up into the top 5. Meanwhile, back up front, how are Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt doing? Well, there they are. Then the lapped car of Derek Cope right behind them. 363 complete of 393 here at Rockingham. We are under caution. Bobby Hamilton has just spun in turn number 2, and the leaders are on pit road. They are going to pit at lap 367. 8 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt's crew going to the right side of the automobile. Ricky Rudd, the second place man, is in as well. Randy?
Well, they took a rounded wedge out on the right rear. They're going to try and loosen Ricky up. They're working on the left side tires right now. Having a little bit of trouble with the left front. Oh my, it's going to hurt Ricky. Could not get the left front off. He's not going to come out in good shape here. Left side now going on. Tough break for Rudd, down and away.
And there you see what remains of the Bobby Hamilton car. We were eavesdropping on his radio, and he said the car just went around on me.
Yeah, well, he's trying very hard here, but you see he gets way up on the racetrack. You see the back end starting around, and it just keeps on getting worse here. He goes around and makes a complete turn. Now watch it go back up head first into the wall.
That's too bad. After the kind of day that those boys had, they deserve better than that. But they end up in the wall, and their afternoon will end up far shy of victory lane. Car just kind of snaps around on you, too. On these radials, there's really no chance to save it. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
We're back in Bobby Hamilton's pit. There's a good bit of damage, as you can see clearly on the screen there. The nose of the car really messed up, the right side. So you're exactly right, Eli. These guys made one whale of an effort today. They were all pumped up, thought they could get back up front. But Bobby said on the radio that in the first wreck, he thought that it knocked the camber out of the right front tire, made the car extremely loose in the corner, and it just got away from him. He said, I don't know what happened. It just came around on me. But looks like his day is done. They'll get it repaired, patched up, send him back out there to finish.
Lap number 368. Dale Earnhardt, the leader here at Rockingham in the last 3 years. Here he has a win, 2 seconds, 1/3, and 2 sevenths. Welcome back to Rockingham. Put those seat belts on. Grandma, put another battery in the pacemaker. We got 23 laps to go.
Saturday night shootout.
And here comes Dale Earnhardt now, trying to keep Dale Jarrett at bay. Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd, Steve Grissom is there, Kenny Wallace, Sterling Marlin. Those are the 7 cars on the lead lap, and here we go.
Marcus dropped down to give everybody a good shot at this, give a good clean run at the first turn.
Oh, Derek Cope tried to get a lap back, couldn't get the jump. But he's run well today. He's being shown an 8th.
He let Ricky Craven go there. Ricky Craven has a very strong race car. I would love to see him get up there and get to mix it up with Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett right now.
Here comes Dale Jarrett in the 88 machine as he works to the inside of Earnhardt and grabs the lead, and caution is on the speedway now for problems in turn number 4. Lake Speed having problems with the rolling spam can as the leader is Jarrett now, and they'll race back to the stripe. Jarrett the leader, 88, after winning the Daytona 500 1 weekend ago and the Busch Clash 2 weeks ago, and we are back under caution, lap 374.
You know, a lot of people through Dale Jarrett's career have questioned if he was for real. Did he get there because of his father? Did he get there because of whatever else? Let me tell you what this guy has done since he's gotten to Robert Yates' team is proven, indeed, Dale Jarrett is for real. What a strong run he had at Daytona, not only in the 500, but in his 125-mile qualifier, in the Busch Clash as well, and all last year, once he finally got over having problems with the car, he was stout.
Plus the fact he got John Irvin, who's done so well preparing his Busch Series cars, and Mark Shook, Digger as they call him. I mean, that man has been serious contender and a winner in the Busch Series, and why folks have been doubting his ability is one of those things that kind of just makes you go, there's really no answer except unknowingness. Let's go down to Glenn.
Well, guys, this is the good year that it indicates the bad end or the bad day that Bobby Hamilton had today. This is the tire that was on the car when he got put in the wall up there when he was fighting with Earnhardt for the lead. Look right here. You can see where it impacted the wall. This is concrete right off the wall. It's just embedded into the rim of the tire here. The rim's bent. The weight here is bent. This thing took a tremendous impact. Obviously, that kind of impact going to bend something back on the car, on the rear end of the car. So you're right, buddy. That's what happened.
So a tough situation there. Bobby Hamilton still trying to salvage what they can out of this day. Not a whole lot to salvage, though, as we're down to the finish. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 is brought to you by your GM Goodwrench dealer. We want your business. And by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. Welcome back, everybody. Elmo Langley takes the Pontiac safety car off the racetrack. He's going to get away in a hurry here to watch the finish of this Goodwrench 400. Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Craven in his 34th Winston Cup race. Best he's ever done was 7th at Michigan in August of a year ago, and Craven's running in 3rd. Ricky Rudd in 4th, Steve Grissom 5th, Kenny Wallace and Sterling Marlin, and here we go again. 393 will make up the total laps today. We are, as you saw, at lap 378. And old Derek Cope says, I need my lap back. If there's another caution, he's back in the hunt. He's only a lap down in car 12.
And Earnhardt's on the bottom with him.
My goodness.
This is unusual. Earnhardt's been running the high line, and Cope's got his lap back, and Earnhardt's gotten underneath the 88 of Dale Jarrett.
Well, Derek Cope back on the lead lap now, running in 8th spot. If we catch a caution here, he'd be able to come all the way back around, as Earnhardt now has the top spot.
And I guess we just figured out what Earnhardt was doing on the bottom, didn't we?
See Ricky Craven there in 3rd place. He's moved right up in behind Dale Jarrett. This car looks like it's as fast as either one of them that's in front of him.
Well, I'll tell you, they've done a tremendous job today. They have pitted on the backstretch. They lost their 3 key engine men over the wintertime, and they lost their right rear tire changer. Got moved to the 37 team. Remember the right rear tire problem at Daytona 500? Well, guess where their tire changer went. And look at them. Here they are at the end of this race, running in 3rd spot. That's a credit to the whole team.
Speaking, of course, of Larry Hedrick Motorsports, Ricky Craven, the driver.
He's showing a lot of patience, too. He had a chance to do something very dangerous there. He looked on the inside of Dale Jarrett going into turn 1, thought better of it. He said, I'll try a little bit later on, because his car is so strong, he does not want to make a sophomore problem for himself.
If you're wondering about Bobby Hamilton, he is back on the racetrack again. Being shown in 23rd spot, 8 laps down, has a little tire up still. There you see the STP Pontiac, but those guys are deserving of a pat on the back, getting that car back out to the finish here today. Lap 381 on the board of 393, a dozen to go. I believe Mr. Earnhardt might have been saving something.
Yeah, he looks like he's checked out. This is a great race for 2nd and 3rd.
Isn't it, though?
And Ricky Rudd is coming. He wants to join that battle.
Works around the lapped car, Derek Cope. There you see 2nd and 3rd spots.
Craven not able to challenge anymore.
The one thing I see Ricky Craven doing, he's following the 88 no matter where he goes. It's hard to pass a car if you stay in his tire tracks. I would be trying different grooves right now this close to the end.
Field update you see as we take you all the way back, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Let's go to Randy on pit road.
Well, Dale Jarrett has come over the radio, said, guys, the car will just not run up off the corner, as we see Craven going high, trying everything he can do, almost loses the car. Dale said, I just can't get it to come off the corner.
Oh, there Kenny Wallace and Steve Grissom got together there. Some contact. Kyle Petty in the 42 watching from his 11th spot. Kyle is not on the lead lap, but Grissom in the 29, the yellow machine there, and the 81 for Wallace, they are on the lead lap.
Grissom in 5th spot right now. Wallace in 6th. A pile of lap traffic. Ernie Irvin down there in the black number 28 car. Anybody who wondered if he could run the full length of the race. There's Ernie Irvin. Whoa, and Kyle Petty gets sideways.
You're going to make me jump off this chair, man.
They go by Bobby Hamilton. Here comes Sterling Marlin in the 4 car. He is on the lead lap in 7th spot. Saying, just get me through all this traffic, as he goes to the inside of Rick Mast, driving the Hooters Pontiac. Wally Dallenbach in the wall. The Hayes Modems machine out of Bud Moore Engineering in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Significant right front damage, and what a run they had going at Daytona last week. And Wally's in the wall here late today.
They did not throw the yellow yet. I guess they figured there's nothing fell off the car. He's continuing on, so we're still under green.
Dallenbach was running in 20th spot when he tagged the wall. There's Dale Earnhardt. He leads. Let's go back and see Wally Dallenbach's problems.
See Wally right there in the 15. He goes in a little bit high. I don't know whether there's contact there or not. You'd have to guess on that, and I'd rather say no. He just went in a little hard, got high there, got up into the wall.
Inside of 5 laps remaining as we're back live to Dale Earnhardt, the race leader. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd, Steve Grisham, Kenny Wallace, Sterling Marlin. That's the 7, and Bobby Hillin spins. Bobby Hillin spins. And now is he going to be able to get the car going off the apron of the racetrack? He is inside of turn 2. No caution flag yet. Dale Earnhardt, the race leader, is in turn 3.
Bobby Hamilton has just pitted. No caution yet.
Caution now it is out. Now it is out, and it has been taken by the leader, Dale Earnhardt. Caution is being displayed at lap 390. Now the question is, can they get this race restarted? We're just 3 laps from the finish. Remember, you've got to get Hillin away, and there he comes down the back pit lane. You would be looking at a green, white, and checker if they can get it done quickly, but I believe we're going to run out of laps. There aren't going to be enough laps to get this race going again and have a green lap finish at the conclusion.
They're still going to get the pace car out on the racetrack.
We're already at 391 of 393.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to do it.
And you're not going to pick the pace car up on this lap. Yes, you are. Elmo's on the racetrack.
So at lap 390, you've got Bobby Hillin, who brings out the 10th caution of the day as he spins in turn number 2, but this is going to be the white flag. And we are going to end under caution. There's Dallenbach. He's not going to make it around. And the white and the caution. This race will end under yellow for Dale Earnhardt. He will come home with the win. It will be his 3rd here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Let's go down to the Earnhardt pit area.
Well, guys, we're standing down here. I'm going to try to get a word with Richard Childress if I can. He's talking to Dale on the radio right now. He's coming down off of the toolbox there. And he's talking to Dale. First of all, Richard, congratulations. It was a hard-fought day, but finally turns out okay.
Yeah, I feel good for the whole race team. It's winter. Everybody really worked hard. This is a brand new car, and man, it's worked good all day. We were a little off yesterday evening, and really tuned her in there good with the chassis. David and Bobby and Dale worked real good together on it.
Well, congratulations again. We're going to make our way to victory lane. We'll talk to Earnhardt in just a moment. Back to Eli Gold.
All right, Glenn, this will be the first Winston Cup race since Charlotte in 1994, the October event, to end under caution. Of course, the ongoing question, you hate to see it. Would anybody have caught Earnhardt anyway? I kind of doubt it, but you'd like to have seen him get a chance. Checkered flag in the air for Dale Earnhardt. And the GM Goodwrench Racing Team winning the Goodwrench Service 400. And old Bobby Hamilton is going to champion on a round for a finish here today. And he'll come home in 24th position, the way we calculated here. So they did salvage something out of what should have been a whole heck of a lot better. But Bobby Hamilton takes the checkered flag, and Dale Earnhardt, big old smile. This is going to be big time after a fine finish at Daytona, a win here at Rockingham. He's firmly atop the NASCAR Winston Cup Series point lead. We'll talk about it in a moment. Well, they will limp around as best they can, will Bobby Hamilton and Wally Dallenbach. But in victory lane, Dale Earnhardt. Took him a while to get there. Kind of got lost going to victory lane while you folks were away. Dale didn't make the right turn.
Well, they've done a whole lot of reconstruction here at the racetrack, and he went in a little different place than he ordinarily would have gone in. Had to back it up, go forward, back it up, go forward. The important thing is he won the race, and he made it there.
The fellow with the blue shirt on the right of the screen is the answer to one of the fax questions we got earlier. Somebody said, who's the guy with the hair and the glasses? It was a question that came in from Alaska. The fellow who's always in victory lane, and that is Bill Broderick, the head of racing public relations for the Unocal Corporation. And he is one who helps orchestrate everything that goes on in victory lane, all the award presentations and so on. So for the questioner up in Anchorage, Alaska, that is the man with the hair helmet, Bill Broderick.
I was going to say he played the lion in The Wizard of Oz.
And we can say that because we're up here and he won't hear this until he watches the tape. Dale Earnhardt, big win today. A lot of fellas took serious shots at the win. Terry Labonte strong early. Jimmy Spencer was dominant middle of the race. Dale Jarrett led. Ricky Rudd, Bobby Hamilton. But when all was said and done, it was that man, Dale Earnhardt, who picks up the win. Glenn Jarrett's right there with him.
Well, Dale Earnhardt, what a great run. You struggled a little bit for a while today, but boy, when you needed to, you put that number 3 back up front. Going to pick up Taylor there. Give her a big victory hug. Congratulations on a great day.
Well, I thank you. Got to hand it to David Smith and everybody, you know, it's spinning his engine department, Scott DeYoung on the qualifying motor. We did a great job, and everybody did a job. We fine-tuned this thing. It's a little different than what we had on the setup here last fall. We're really happy with the car, the way it ran. I gotta hand it to all the crew. They did a great job. Goodwrench and all the folks, we appreciate everything they do. And, you know, we was a little short at Daytona, but we made it up for it here, but that darn Jarrett finished second to me, so the Dales are hanging in there, but, you know, it's been a good day for us. I hate we got together with Hamilton. You know, he was running awful strong, and I got to back up on him. We was bumping along there, and we bumped a little bit. So, you know, it's one of them deals racing. But he, you know, he got okay from that. It just got into another deal, I reckon. But our car ran great all day. I got to thank all the sponsors. Everybody did a great job. Thank Martina McBride for giving me an autograph and a little good luck autograph for my car. I carried it all the way in the race, so maybe she's my good luck charm.
He'll have her at every race from now on. You can count on that. Whenever Dale Earnhardt needs a fix, he comes home to the rock. He kicked them again today, Eli.
He did. He led 7 times for 95 laps. Look at Ricky Craven, his best career finish ever. As you see the top 10, 1 Pontiac in the mix. Rick Mast coming home in 10th. Today's exclusive TNN coverage of the Goodwrench 400 has been brought to you by Miller Lite, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. And by Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. Dale Earnhardt, the race winner, and our congratulations to that man, David Smith, the Weston Auto Mechanic of the race. And it's also time now for the Pit Crew of the Race Award, brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, making the world a very cool place. Here's Glenn.
Well, thanks, Eli. The recipient of the Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew of the Race Award also goes to David Smith in only his 2nd race as the crew chief. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, Glenn. It's just a tremendous day for this team, and I'm just so proud of our pit crew and the way they performed today.
They absolutely did a good job. They always do. You can always count on them. Now back to Eli.
All right, Glenn, thank you. Let's take a look at all the rundown here today. 69th career win for Dale Earnhardt in his performance here today. His 42nd Super Speedway victory. Career best for Ricky Craven. Super run for Kenny Wallace coming home in 7th. Derek Culp hung tight all day as we continue our look back through the field here this afternoon in the running of the Goodwrench Service 400. Kyle Petty. Mike Skinner championed on home for a 12th place, guys. There you see further down the line, Johnny Benson. Hutch Strickland got into problems earlier. He came home in the 30th spot. And now many of the teams that ended up in the garage area. A myriad of accidents today among our 10 caution flags. Ward Burton, the first man out of the event. As far as the NASCAR Winston Cup Series points, you'll have a tie atop the leaderboard. Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt are there with Ricky Rudd, Ricky Craven, and Jeff Burton behind them. Coming up in just moments, the Dukes of Hazzard, a special episode right here on TNN. Of course, later on today, you've got SCCA Trans Am Racing from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Race Day tonight, hosted live by Rick Benjamin. Hope you enjoyed our weekend here at The Rock. For Dick Bergman, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, and Randy Pemberton, I'm Eli Gold. Our congratulations to Dale Earnhardt and the entire Goodwrench team for a big win today. We will see you soon with more, but right now, stay tuned. The Dukes of Hazzard coming up next as Dale Earnhardt celebrates his 69th career win. So long, everybody.